Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Sunday Fastball on this beautiful May 2nd, 2021. This week features myself, Crusty Canuck, Adam Danny Mezei, Fred Stockman, and a bit later we'll have Chris, the veteran Veritas Semchuk, joining us momentarily. Interesting week, gentlemen, in the name of politics, Canadian and American alike, and the social spectrums, and of course the medical spectrum that's been haunting us ever since last March, right? We're seeing more cases, more people getting sick, more casualties, apparently. Of course, the big dramatic models that are being presented to us in the mainstream media. And of course, more of the panic. So, Adam and Fred, what do you guys think?
It's really hard to believe that Jason Kenney's contemplating an actual curfew in Alberta.
Right.
It's also astonishing that you have jurisdictions in the States, very simply like Texas and Florida and South Dakota and places where they're much more populous. Even in California, you'd think in California they would do this, but they don't. All the stadiums are full. People go to the ball games. People attend all the sporting events. People are fully tapped into, whatever society's got going on. Everybody's going to restaurants and bars. Everybody's doing what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, you have these people in Canada that are clearly taking instructions from somebody else. And I want to say that they're taking their instructions from the unelected health bureaucrats, but I mean, no one person is that powerful. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but Diane Henshaw is not that powerful. I mean, obviously she clearly is, because they keep on citing her as the source for the reason medically why everything is being shut down. But there's clearly some kind of messaging coming from some other source in Canada, like it always is that perfect petri dish nation, that all these sort of different powers around the world like to use as their kind of sandbox slash farm team slash let's see if this works in Canada. I mean, if this works in Canada, a very manageable population size, then we can see if this works on a much bigger scale. I mean, I don't think it's a cynical thing to say. I think that's pretty spot on in terms of what's happening. And I think the numbers are bunk. I mean, how many thousands of times do we have to shout from the rooftops? It's not about the damn cases. It's about the deaths, and the deaths for people that are under 60 years old in Alberta are almost negligible. There's, I think, 128 people from the start of the pandemic that died under 60, and something like 1,300 in Alberta that passed away between 60 and 85 or 60 and 90. And it's those people that aren't going out, and they're not partying, and they're not going to restaurants, and they're not going to beaches. So, why should you put a curfew on people that are perfectly healthy? And just the overall, I mean, Fred can kick into this, but just the overall, I just think the overall affront to civil liberties by saddling completely healthy people with the moniker of being carriers of plague. My disrespect, my rancor, and my vitriol is best reserved for all of those people in society that are afraid of their own shadow. And save for our glorious veterans and for our notable historical milestones, I'm sorry to say, Canadians are craven. They're feckless. They're cowardly. They're not niggardly, because they're quite generous, unfortunately, with our big funds. But they're definitely they're extremely lemming-like, and I'm almost, especially here in this province, your former stomping ground, Sarge. I'm ashamed to be in this province. It's not going to get any better. And just one final statement is: how do you forgive all the people that did this to you? Like, how do you forgive people that acted like Nimrods, or that acted like fraidy cats, or they went completely hysterical, or they snitched on you, or who knows what they did? Or, I mean, you're not going to mend these friendships. You're not going to rebuild these businesses. You're not going to fix these family ties that have been severed. So I'm just disgusted by it all. And like a lot of people, you look for, I don't know, you look at alternatives for contingencies. Anyway, take it away,
Fred. Those crocodile tears you're wiping off.
That's all it's about, okay? Honestly, if it's not just about like taking away your freedom, it's about money too. All they want to do is cash out on this vaccine. They'll probably get your channel taken down. Sorry, but it's factually correct. Like the drug companies are losing money right now if they don't get enough people to take this. So to turn a profit, they need most of the population to take it. It's not about herd immunity or any of that kind of stuff. It's about cashing in because they people know they're full of crap anyway. Like most people know that the drug companies are full of crap, so just trying to make money. But anyway,
one of my friends in the States in Philadelphia told me today we were exchanging. It was her birthday yesterday, so I took the occasion to reach out to her and just say, "Hi, what's going on? Happy birthday, etc." And she said to me, like, if more people just knew this reality, the reality is the drug companies have zero legal liability if something goes amiss. Zero. In other words, even if you believe in vaccines, air quotes for those that are just listening, even if you believe in inoculation, if something goes amiss, typically what happens with vaccines is there's legal recourse. You can sue, especially in the States, which is litigious, very sue happy. You can't do it anywhere on Earth. These people are completely inured. They're insulated from any and all consequences. If that doesn't put the fear of Jesus into you, then I don't know what will. And then, we can debate about the merits, demerits, efficacy, this, that, the other. We can talk about all the other sort of science things, but do you want to take, you're basically jumping. I mean, is it really like jumping out of an aircraft at low altitude without a chute? You might not kill yourself when you land. I mean, low altitude, not obviously 30,000 feet, 10,000, excuse me, but you'll jump out 3,000 meters. Sorry for all of our metric and imperially challenged friends. You might not die, but you'll probably bust a leg. I mean, do you want to take that chance? I don't want to take that chance. I want to shoot pretty good. I want to shoot straight. I still have things I want to do in this life. So yeah, why do I want shit in my body? Why? I'm healthy. I eat right. I sleep right. I take my vitamins. I work out often. What do I need crap in my body for? And why are you pushing it so hard? Why don't you just switch to decaf, you jackass? Why do you keep on pushing me? Why do you push? What's your interest?
You see the people getting vaccinated. I don't know. All these people getting these vaccine selfies. What I mean? All people really excited about it. And it's like, mate. Also, the people asking you about getting a vaccine makes me more disturbed because it's like, mate, do I ask if you work out every day? Do I ask if you eat well? Should you really be eating that donut right now? I don't ask these things about you. You want to ask a really personal medical decision about me. So I find that really strange, and it's only about this vaccine. You don't hear people going did you get the flu vaccine? No. No. But the COVID vaccine, because it's so dangerous. Oh, this vaccine, oh my God. This virus is so dangerous. It's so dangerous that the third world is dying of starvation right now as barely anyone dies in the West from this coronavirus. The third world is going to get absolutely eliminated, mate. There's going to be so many dead Africans and Asians because of us not responding to this pandemic properly. So good job, America and Canada and UK. Fucking idiots. Seriously.
Well, what gets me...
That's a great point. They got so much money. To your point, Fred, then, sorry, Sarge, I'll let you go. They got scads and scads of money. They got billions of dollars to invest in marketing these drugs and designing government campaigns and in staffing and in logistics and rollout distribution. All this money they could give for other more noble, more pressing and immediate causes. But anyway, go ahead, Sarge.
Yeah, what I was saying is that you're looking at Britain now. They've practically ended some of their lockdowns, and people are slowly coming out of the woodwork and getting back into their football stadiums, getting back into their
Stadia.
pubs.
Stadia. Sorry.
Oh, Stadia. Sorry. Hey, yes. Pardon me. Yes. Stadia. Yes. Watching football games. But it's slowly coming to terms. And yet now the big discussion in Canada is in regards to our flight restrictions. Now, they mentioned this before last spring. Okay, let's, end these flights. Let's stop this. Let's stop that. And of course, the liberal model says, oh, no, we can't do that. That's racist. That's bigoted. That's terrible. And now they're starting to think, oh, maybe they had a point, 14 months later. So which is it? So what agenda is being promoted? Now, I'm not going to sit and put my tinfoil hat on and go, oh my goodness, this is aliens.
Why is that a tinfoil hat thing? I mean, that's really taking it to an extreme. I don't think that's tinfoil.
That's actually more genuine now too, because you look at the conspiracy theorists, let's say from 10 years ago, some of them predicted some of these onslaughts.
Joe. Here's the thing. The aliens are they're multidimensional. They're coming after your children.
And the gay frogs.
Vampires, interdimensional space vampires.
Exactly. From the fourth dimension.
That's a pretty good impression of Alex Jones, by the way, Freddie.
I've watched him too much, mate.
Yeah.
It's kind of shit.
When you look, he's kind of right, though, in a way. Like, I'm not talking about the gay frog or the tinfoil hat or the lizard people.
Gay frogs too.
But, it's needless to say.
No, he was. Okay, just quick side tangent. The thing about the gay frogs was true because the chemicals that were getting dumped into the water, and I think it was Connecticut, were actually making the frogs, instead of being gay, they were actually transitioning into another gender. So Alex Jones was too nice. He should have said, oh, the frogs are becoming trannies. And they would have been more accurate. But he went for gay. Like, he was too nice about it,
Yeah, but whatever happened to anyway, I don't want to go there. But terminology, nomenclature. I'm perfectly fine using old terms, old street names. I'm not into PC street name switching and all this other yakety yak. Just use the original names for things. Mm-hmm. The language had a utility and a purpose and a function. It's perfectly fine to use the words because the words mean something,
Hey, mate, tranny can be a lot of things. And
that's right. Transmission.
So
that's right. That's right.
Or you could say I'm taking the tranny to the shop.
Right.
Next time over. I'm going to hop on the young and bluer tranny.
The frogs becoming transgenders.
I don't know. It's scary. After my conversation with Sophia Rossetti there on Thursday, we had a great talk about the whole thing. And the politics is unnecessary with it because, she grew up in a time where she knew who she was and what she needed to do. But she accepted, societal issues, what have you. But now that she isn't a legitimate good for her, but she's not going to buy the political hoopla over it, too. Got a question here from Miss Kozlowski.
No, it's Kosakovsky.
Kozakowski?
Kosakovsky.
Well, W, sorry. Queen's English. Yes. What the Heritage Minister wants to do, really bad idea all around. Well, exactly. Stephen Gilbert, Mr.
Guilbeault and Guilbeault, and why? And why is it bad? Because Stephen Guilbeault is a convicted criminal. That's the first thing, for scaling the CN Tower and trying to drape the CN Tower in Greenpeace bunting and all kinds of other protest materials, defacing the side of public property, scaling up it, which was pretty nuts. The fact that they actually didn't fall off or whatever it was. Imagine trying to apprehend those guys. It's like, get up here, or they pull them up because they refuse to rappel down, or they refuse to crank up. So they just yank them up one after the other. There's an ogre on the roof of the CN Tower going, heave, ho, heave, ho, and bringing up these jackasses. The other thing is, he's absolutely fucking inarticulate as far as I'm concerned. He's his mind is moving. His mind is so replete and saturated with horseshit that he doesn't know how to clear out all of the crap so that he can actually utter a coherent, cogent sentence. Mm-hmm. He's constantly double clutching and oohing and ahhing, which to my mind is just the mark of a fucking charlatan. Mm-hmm. And he's a shitty choice on the competence level for a high level minister. He's a great choice for a virtue hire and for an all around. And I'm just going to curse because it's funny. An all around second asshole, which helps you eliminate better. So you always need a second asshole around, and he's a perfect one. He's like Tweedledum, Tweedledee, or whatever you want to say, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, with him and the boy Whimper. And the other thing is he's just all you have to realize with all of these liberal cabinet appointees is they're all megaphones or loudmouths for just whatever the globalist WEF agenda du jour is. So it's just it's like basically you'd get a in a box solution from some software provider, but you'd customize it for the nation in question, putting a few sort of localized bells and whistles. That's what seems to me to be the case with Guilbeault. And he's a malfeasant fibber. All he does is fib and
Fibbing.
fib and lie, and he twists, and he does a really, really shitty interview. Like I can't even get through the interview because he can't even speak properly. He's not entertaining. He's got that crook looking 5 o'clock shadow shit, perpetual, Don Johnson 5 o'clock shadow with the greasy hair, and he's runty. Like he looks runty. I think his wife's like 3 inches taller than him. That's not a problem. I like tall broads, but just to say, I'm not the tallest guy.
Tall. That's right. Yeah.
I'm not the tallest guy.
Keep his partner out of this, okay?
Yeah.
Like, no attacking the spouses of political people. That's universal. Like, I'm not going to attack Jill Biden because she's married to Joe Biden, okay?
Well, I will attack Jill Biden because she's actually complicit in elder abuse. Not to mention the fact that her doctoral thesis that was actually reviewed by Tucker Carlson just absolutely eviscerated her doctoral thesis. It was rife with grammar, spelling errors, what have you. Let's not talk about Biden's. Yeah,
I didn't know about that. Okay,
yeah, she's not a real doctor. Like anyway, let's not go with the Bidens for just a moment. But Gilbo, to answer your question, either Miss or Mrs. or Jur, sorry, Kozlokovsky. I'm just kidding. Miss Kozlokovsky. It's I think he's in a long series since 2015 of inappropriate, absolutely mismatched appointees to any of the ministries, whether it's him or Climate Barbie or the Pint Size CU next Tuesday, right? McKenna, or it's what people say Ahmed Hassan, but it's actually Ahmad Hussein. Ahmad Hussein. Yeah, the Somali or the defense minister Sajan, or any one of those other knuckleheads. It's just a long series of plug and play sweet MFs. I mean, probably the most competent people that he had were Dr. Philpott, genuine medical doctor, not a political doctor, and Mrs. Wilson-Raybould, whose politics we can probably disagree with often, but at least she has some integrity, and at least
she was a classical liberal. That's the thing. She was a classic liberal. She brought something unfair to the attention of her commander-in-chief, the prime minister, and he forced her to, you will walk this way and talk this way or else. And, she saved her dignity and said, see ya, I'm out of here. And good for her. I may disagree with a lot of things that she might say, but she's actually a qualified attorney. She's very well educated. She grew up in very, very humble beginnings. So I would give her a platform in a heartbeat, not because she's a woman or because she's First Nations, because she has what it takes.
Well,
and
she comes from good stock. Bill Wilson, her dad, he's a pretty tough cookie. And she, go ahead, Major. I'll just finish this point. And then she learned under the best, and at least you know what she stands for. She's not going to blindside you with some garbage. I prefer to get hit frontally than hit on the periphery. With these other slippery, slimy, they're really gutter snipes, all of them. You don't know what they're dealing. Anyway, Mage, take it away.
Well, she has merit. Yeah. She has meritocracy, and the credits and the actual skills and creditation for the portfolio of which it was that she was holding. There is a novel idea.
Actually, a background on what she's supposed to do. Now, the Liberal Caucus did vote for M103 too, so make that point valid. Okay, we all know what M103 is.
A motion in the House, in the House of Commons. A motion, all that is a motion that we will not have Islamophobia in the House. And what is Islamophobia? And it absolutely kills me that there has not been one member of parliament, independent or otherwise, an independent member of parliament could put a motion forward to take away Islamophobia in the House. And not one of our members of parliament in the House of Commons has motioned to take away Islamophobia. It's crazy to me what is going on in Canada.
Well, the thing is, there was real no fear of it to begin with. I think it was just a filibuster and to do the PC thing, because it's already in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. You cannot discriminate against anyone's religious practice. You cannot do it. And so that's like, that's old news. I think what they did is just try to emphasize the fact of the whole die model. I'm not against anybody who preaches to God or Muhammad or Moses or the sun god or Buddha, or if you worship lemons or worship two monkeys singing hand to hand. I don't care. What I care about is I don't believe in special treatment for any certain group. I don't. Equality under the law, period. That's the thing. Keep it simple. And I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Jehovah or if you're Branch Davidian or Seventh-day Adventist. Yeah, you don't get any special treatment from me. We're all guilty. Like, we all heard stories about Jehovah Witnesses when we were kids. Someone knocking your door on a Sunday. We got to tell you the gospel. Okay, you'll sit and listen, and sometimes you make fun of them. But I'm not going to condemn them that right to do it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if someone who's preaching the gospel of Muhammad comes to my door and gives me peace and tidings. Hey, I don't mind. That's just how I am as a character. I don't need the government to redefine my character, or your character, Chris, or yours, Adam, or yours, Fred, or the audience out there. We don't need the government to do that. That motion just drove me up the wall. It's like, really? You want to do that? You're basically giving special treatment to a certain group of people. That's what it is.
Here's another comment about that. The unfortunate aspect is none of these appointees have a unique thought of their own. It's all regurgitated. It's all been scribbled for them, or it's coming from somewhere else that's been applied to the Canadian circumstances. These are not high-level novel thinkers that plumb through the depths of political history to come up with novel solutions to new problems. It's all cookie cutter. It's all formulaic. It's all puzzle pieces. It's shifting around. It's actually a shell game, kind of like. That's really what it is. All of this stuff, these people that are currently occupying the 5-star ministries in this country, the top ones, the defenses, the foreigns, the deputy PMs, the health, the immigration file, etc. These people are not astonishing, enlightened, illuminated people. These are all plug and play individuals. They're all replaceable in ways that some other politicians are not. They're all replaceable. There's nothing novel and unique about them. I guess they just don't make people angry in a way. Like they're perfect pawns because they don't set people on fire. I was going to say in the same way that the American president is just like a perfect placement because he doesn't piss people off because he's such a pops, like a bumbling sort of, nincompoop that he doesn't piss anybody off. He doesn't have an independent thought in his brain.
He's like vanilla.
He doesn't have an independent thought in his brain. It's all just regurgitation.
He's the color beige.
He's the what?
He's the color beige.
He's beige, yeah, because the other one's yellow. He's beige.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if black and white, someone gets angry, but beige, can't get really angry at it. I think all politicians, the only way you can donate to their campaign is just make like a building that's closed off, kind of like a strip club where there's no windows or anything. You just throw money at politicians. That's how I think you should do donations from now on. Because it's stupid.
Yeah,
at least be honest.
Get up and dance for it. Exactly.
We all know they're whores anyway. Like, come on. I'd love to throw money at the Clintons.
We got a question here from Gil Gibbert. Do any of you think that the time of diplomacy is over and now it's time to take up arms and rebel?
I'll be a politician and say no comment.
I'm not the best person to ask for that kind of stuff. I mean, what? Yes, no. Okay, no. You're gonna get angry at me. Yes, we're all gonna get happy. But then what are we gonna do? Are we gonna storm the Bastille? I mean, are we actually gonna go and? We're not gonna do it, So it's, and I think that there's enough people in this country that are perfectly content to let things continue the way they've been continuing. There's a lot of people in this country that actually support this stuff. Yeah. I mean, we'll see in the next election, and I hope that. I hope the shiny pony doesn't get in some kind of a majority situation, but there's nothing that's really going to stand athwart. There's a good word for you, athwart him. And I mean, I mean, I'm always holding out the possibility that somebody can kind of come up with like a last ditch effort. Somebody can wedge issue it, but people like this. People like the freebies. They like the handouts. They like the lagniappes. They like they love the pork. You know, they love it. I mean, in Quebec and Ontario and especially the Maritimes, they love it, man. They love it. 25 maritime ridings. That's hip pocket. You know, like Liberals can count on especially with the opposing. Especially with the opposing politicians they have going against them, 25 ridings in the Maritimes is a hip pocket. You know, between that and a plurality in Ontario and Quebec, you got it. You got the house. Crappy system, and we're gonna continue to get sodomized, fornicated, and otherwise abused, violated.
You're not a primus of a kid to even reach around, bastards. Yes. Okay, Chris, what do you think?
I already said, I mean,
no comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
Again, I'll stick with what I say every week. I mean, I know it's extremely idealistic, but if every Canadian actually got out of the apathy and paid attention in this next election, and at least just paid attention, opened up their eyes, looked into their local constituency, and voted their conscience. Looked into all their candidates that are running in their riding, and not into their political parties that they're running for and their political party platforms, but just with a microscope of who that individual is that's running, whether they're actually from that area and haven't been parachuted in, what their record is in locally, and with that MP. I'm talking just strictly federally right now, the federal election. Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
And what that individual has done locally with their street credit has been locally on boots on the ground, and whether they feel that MP is actually going to do anything when it comes time and there's a need to be represented federally by that MP, i.e., like, I'll just use an example for myself. I've been trying for 3 years to get MP Mark Gerritsen for Kingston and the Islands to help me navigate Veterans Affairs issues with the Ministry of Veterans Affairs through Minister, to get a ministerial review of my file, which is his job as an MP to do that, to vote for that person locally, regardless of what political affiliation that is. I know this is extremely idealistic, but if every Canadian marched into that ballot box and did that for the person that they thought was going to do that locally for them, that has credit in their community and that is actually from their community.
Yeah.
No matter how crappy our system is, first past the post in Canada, it's the party system that has destroyed it. Okay? Because that is how the Westminster parliamentary system is supposed to work. And I'll just leave it at that. We don't take up arms and rebel. I hope not. But idealistically, if every Canadian that is eligible to vote in the system the way it is, if the system isn't rigged and if the system isn't fixed for this next election, because I'd like to talk about that another cast. Okay. But in a system that's functional and that is working and that is a proper electoral system, that the voting's working properly, if every Canadian did do that, I'm sorry, forget the party system, it would work.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You're supposed to represent your constituents in our system, regardless of party affiliation or not. You're supposed to represent, and with good conscience too. I've said numerous times on my show, this is what I want to do. I'm planning to do this. I want to run for my constituents. I don't want to run for the party. It's the base, but it's not the basis of me getting into politics. It's representing your voice, Chris. It's representing your voice, Adam. It's representing the voices of some of the real disenfranchised. That's all Canadians, all colors and creeds. Disenfranchised where the economy is going. being told that, okay, these guys deserve a pay raise because they're working so hard, because they're in Zoom meetings all day. Oh, I tell you, that Zooming, that's just so hard on the fingertips, right? Compared to people that have worked 12, 14 hours a day, hauling pipe or hauling dirt or hauling shit or milking cows or raising beef, right? They have no concept. So we need more ground roots people to look at the constituency rather than the party, right? And every zone, ADM, you can verify too that you're part of the center of the known universe has predominantly been a liberal, very liberal mandate. So people are going to vote for what's comfortable, what they're familiar with. They're almost afraid to venture out of that norm and they go, oh, what's this guy talking about? Or what's this girl talking about? Oh, you know, my usual candidate he's talking about equality and fairness, and yet this candidate's talking about, oh, getting the economy back in order, letting stores open. Oh, wow. Having people carry on with their own dignity and their own self-determination. Oh, interesting. Fred, what would you say?
We're actually having local elections here in a few days. I think global, federal level politics is kind of always rigged anyway because there's so much big money involved. So I say just make sure your local leaders are the people you agree with, because that's the only way we can really win, unfortunately. If you want to talk about like civil unrest and stuff, like look no further than South Africa. That is the UN globalist model. They want us to be racist to each other. They want us to, this is all hate. It's not about diversity and all this. Well, it is about diversity, but it's not about like all this equality crap is just meant to like make people envious of each other and more jealous, so they want to kill each other. That's the goal. The UN has been trying this in Africa because if they can get all the whites out of Africa who own most of the farmland and mines and all that stuff, they keep some money. So if we want to look at, they're basically trying to translate that over to the Americas and Australia and Britain and all that, to basically destabilize our society. So the best way you can fight back, in my opinion, is get local leaders that agree with you and stand for your rights. Stop putting your kids through the public education system. Stop sending them to university and get them actual like paying jobs that are not like white collar degrees that don't really get them money. Get them like with a trained apprentice, all this kind of stuff. There's a long term solution, yes, but it's a solution nonetheless. So. That's what you. I mean, you might not like that opinion, but that's just what we're gonna have to do. Because national elections are rigged against us, essentially. Because either party is whichever country you're in, all the major parties are so corrupt that they won't do anything for you. The Republicans in America are no better than the Democrats. The only thing they do is they'll say like, "Oh, we won't raise your taxes." That's it. All the other social issues they could care less about. And the same goes in Canada. The Conservatives and the Liberals are the same thing, essentially. They're only 5 years. The Conservatives are 5 years behind the Liberals at most. Really, they don't do anything that actually is going to help you out. So, local elections, people. Local elections. Your own communities.
There's a good question here.
Well said.
Mark Dietz. Oh, you want to do this one first from Gil? Another one. Go ahead.
Yeah, from Gil there. What are the views and ideals of Canada becoming a republic to help with rewriting our constitution so it's fair across all provinces instead of favoring a certain few?
Now we need
to sell you guys California.
Yeah, exactly. We need a nice long interregnum of nothing really going on, which I can't really see happening in this very divided nation. You still got to get over this tyrannical stuff that we're on right now. This power lust, this adoration for basically control. And then I don't know if that's ever going to go, because Mark then asks, do you ever think there's going to come a time, and you can read the question out, but I'm going to paraphrase, do you ever think there's going to come a time where all these people that are basically that, does anyone think the day will come when they say, hey, thanks for your operation, thanks for your cooperation as you were? I don't know. I mean, like, that's a nice thing to think about. But it's more like how are people in society? Forget about what they tell us what to do. What about everybody that's done everything to everybody else? What about the cops that have lost the trust, the various police forces in the large cities that have entirely lost the force of the population? What about all the people that were rioting and destroying things and looting things and ripping up neighborhoods and burning things and looting things and shooting each other. What about that? What about people that were snitching on people? What about people within families that were like trying to like prove their point and were like getting loud and we're ostracizing people and refusing to meet people, or we're manipulating? I mean, all that stuff is like the knock-on effects from all this stuff. So even if they say it's over, look at what they've done. It's like any one of the battlefields in the First World War in Belgium and in France. I mean, you've ripped up the vegetation. It's all black cordite, dead carcasses, horse guts, human beings, limbs flying everywhere, unexploded ordnance, shell casings.
It's still there too.
Shell casings. Everything is just absolutely a mess. Like they've dumped the equivalent of like, how many battles prior to the First World War, like all the ordnance from every battle and every like, I mean, that's basically what they're doing. They're carpet bombing the society. How do you recover from that? I mean, the society's going to be schizophrenic. Like, you're going to need to have some serious societal therapy. And none of these slogans are going to do the trick. All the stuff that you see on, if you happen to catch it on TV, all the sort of the jingles and the all the stuff that's coming out of the province or from the feds. Like, it's just like they'll sit back with glee, and they're going to be like, like the destroyers will be like, we ripped up and we just completely gutted your society. Now we're going to just take off to the Caymans, or we're going to go to Costa Rica, or we're going to go to one of the islands, and we're going to enjoy ourselves, and we're going to enjoy.
For example, what Mulroney did after he lost in '93 to Chrétien, he took a nice job with an American consulate company, I believe, based on deals he made under the free trade agreement. And what was Jean Chrétien doing after he stepped down?
China.
Paul Morton took after.
China.
Exactly. So they don't really care about what they did.
Project
they don't look
Sidewinder.
at the repercussions. Sorry, Chris?
Project Sidewinder.
Yes, exactly. I'm not as familiar as I should be. I've heard of it. Yes, and I understand that too. Getting things in. And
yeah. Sorry to Crusty that I interrupted. I just wanted to tie Mark Dietz's comment with Jill Gilbert's comment before.
Yeah, go for it. I'll put it up again.
And also linking with what ADM's saying. So Mark Dietz's comment here, as you were, that'll never happen unless there's a leader, a true leader that steps up on all the different nations levels, that can step in and go, okay, I'm here to be a healer, and this is how we're going to heal. Here's the plan, and we're going to do this, this, and this, and let's go. Like real leadership. Okay. And to Gilles Gilbert's question before about the Republic, come on, people, this is Canada. I'm sorry, Canada, we've got 152 years of history and heritage around a constitutional monarchy that's a confederation. Okay, we're still a confederacy, just like the States is a confederacy, all right, that operates under a Westminster parliamentary system. If you think a country our size is going to be able to all of a sudden deconstruct that, and now with all our regional diversities and everything, and now all this other dye stuff that's been thrown into this country over this past 5 years, and all of a sudden put it into a pot and go, oh, let's get together and build a republic. You're smoking crack. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
We need to add layers onto it and go back to, I don't know, there's this amazing man in Canada called Preston Manning. Reform! And just kind of look back to these principles back in the day that were sound, and maybe kind of figure out a way how in this system, as screwed up as it is now in Canada, but this structure that we have, and figure out how we can incorporate a Triple E Senate into what we have now. And I'll close with, if the PPC is going to ever be a credible option, forget about the construct of what it is today. If they are going to run in the next election, and they're going to have the leader that they have, and they're going to have the people that they're going to run, they goddamn well better add constitutional reform into their platform, or they're not going anywhere the way Canada is right now in this next federal election. And I'm going to drop the mic on that one. Thank you very much.
What was once considered to be one of Sir John's greatest achievements, Sir John A. Macdonald, the first Prime Minister of Canada, and kind of the man who is responsible for Canada being as big as it is, was once considered to be one of his signature achievements, and pushing through the railroad to make sure that both ends of the country were severed together so the Americans couldn't come up the middle and sever the country in two. Now is actually an Achilles heel. It's a liability for Canada. You know, being so big means that everything is running at cross purposes to each other. And you look in the countries in Europe that are a lot smaller. Somebody had mentioned this. What I'm trying to say is, like, people in smaller countries can rebel, and the disgust and the repugnance and the revolution and the sort of like the protest is a lot more effective in a small nation that can boogie on a dime, like a 5 million strong country in Ireland, Switzerland, and New Zealand, that kind of thing. You know, in a country as big as ours, like, any protest movement fizzles out. If it's all localized, you know, it fizzles out pretty quickly. And I think that's kind of what was considered to be one of our greatest advantages, being big and being sort of unified. It's none of that now. It's just a mishmash of different regional interests that are together just by fiat, by document. You know, we're together by constitution, by historical consequence. There's nothing that's linking everything together. People that protest, it just fizzles. People that are protesting in Alberta, people in Ontario don't even hear about it. The only people that are into that or that are in the media, that's their job to cover that. People in Ontario don't know what's going on in Calgary. People in Calgary have no idea what's going on in Toronto. You know, people in Montreal don't have any idea what's going on in Halifax, and there's not a lot going on in Halifax, by the way. No umbrage to Haligonians, but you know, just it's too big, man. It's too damn big. I'm not saying it should be broken up into pieces, but it's just too damn big. It's too unruly. It's too unwieldy. And every day it appears to be the case. I mean, to think, like I told my friend today, to think that they erected roadblocks on the highways between Manitoba and Ontario and Quebec because they didn't want their various sort of provincial citizens commingling or going in between the different provinces to transport whatever minimal number of virulent symptomatic cases of COVID. Like you cretins, you termagants, you viragos. You know, you grimalkins, you malkins, you stregas, you scumbags. You treat us like we're breathing plague. You know, yeah. like you walk outside and then someone's gonna walk back like a zombie. Like, you scumbags, you destroyed our good nature. Our good Canadian nature, which was just like whatever that means, you know, you've ripped it to shreds. Like whatever hard work we had to do in the wake of 2 referenda in Quebec and all the unity crises that we had in the 90s and in the 80s, they like, this is just another kick in the stones. Yeah. Like how do you fix this damn stuff? It's all fine and dandy for you on the individual level, Sarge, to go to the House and to represent your constituents well, but you just said it, you're going to represent your constituents well in your riding. You know, and the Major said himself, yes, to have somebody that represents veterans' interests in your riding, but it's your riding. It's not like the big concept. I'm not saying that Alberta has to separate and Quebec has to go its own way. It's just that, like, what's the unifying concept? Oh my gosh, we got nothing to anchor to. We got nothing to hook onto here. All we hook onto is just how much we think the Liberals are a bunch of nincompoops, and that the various the various provincial premiers who should be basically very independent minded are just taking instructions from the feds. I mean, come on, man.
So what is it? What should it be in Canada right now? That's what the problem is. What is the vision of Canada besides being a globalist entity that Trudeau keeps marking us as to Canadians?
As well as the NDP and parts of the CPC caucus too.
Well, because that's what the CPC is now too. I mean, that's what O'Toole's marking us. I mean, so what is it?
So my idea of Canada is this: let provinces do their thing. Let's use the American model. Okay, every state governs their own state. We can do that in the parliamentary system too. You can do that. Like, say, let Alberta do this, let Quebec do this. Fine. You can have all these people talk about separation. Fine. Okay. And if it comes to a point again where we need a referendum to decide something, then it's up to the governing body to instigate that, to make that happen, to actually listen to all the people. And none of these so-called Nanos polls or Joe Blow's poll or this poll or some kid walking down the street, Bank Street in Ottawa, asking 10 people, well, what do you think about this? And here's a national poll. No, a genuine poll. Actually put some junk mail in people's mailboxes. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Okay. Common sense. You want to put people to work? Okay, here's a task for you. We'll give you $15 an hour if you go out and you ask 500 people this question or these questions. We'll give you $16 an hour if you ask 700 people these questions or that question. However it may be, little innovations, little steps that take it that way too. We have forgotten basic common sense when it comes to constituency. Okay. My aspiration is simple: get my podcast on the go, work, pay my bills, make sure I'm a good husband to my wife, and represent my constituents and my country proudly to its fullest. And like I've said to other members of this panel and other panels too, till my last breath. That's an oath I took as a soldier, and that's an oath I will take now. There's nothing wrong with waving the flag, nothing wrong with standing by the party you want to represent. But when it comes down to it, you got to stand by the people you're supposed to be representing. And we're not getting that representation, whether it's NDP, Liberal, CPC now, based on some of the actions of Mr. O'Toole, creating the whole carbon savings account, and of course the Greens and other individuals thereof. Okay. Even today, I watched Mr. Mulcair, the ex-NDP leader, sitting there and all over so smug with his pension and his beautiful house in Montreal, saying, oh, well, thousands in Montreal are all these anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers. And I said, well, there's some anti-vaxxers in there and anti-maskers, but these are people fighting for freedom. Open up the stores. Enough of this garbage. Okay, here's a guy that's super educated, comes from a blue-collar background of 10 kids. Okay, did some good things as the NDP leader, quickly retired for some unknown reason. And now he's sitting there spewing this BS when it comes to people in the streets looking for freedom. It's what it is. Fine. Okay, we'll wear masks, but open up the stores. Fine. We'll take a shot. Open up the stores, get things going again. Okay. We're not seeing that ground roots anymore. The way this country was founded. Ground root people trying to govern, not trying to control. I don't want to control anybody. I want to represent people and say, I am here for you. And if that means I'm up all night typing away on Zoom meetings, like that frickin' Easter guy said, or actually digging a hole to build a foundation for somebody, I'll do it.
Right on, man.
Doug Ford said this thing a few weeks back, and it was a press conference. And he said, there is no premier and no leader in Canada who can do something that runs contrary to the advice of their public health bureaucrats and officials. And I listened to that, and the more I listened to it once, twice, thrice, I was like, okay, so that means that what he's basically said is, and this is coming from a man who achieved leadership of the CPC by crook, maybe by hook, but by something not exactly kosher, and really
too, because it was
monopoly money. I like that, Freddie. But he ended up hoodwinking or strong arming, more appropriately, a very nice lady by the name of Tanya Granit-Chalin, and really she was the kingmaker, which says a lot about his personality. But it's one thing to have like lousy beginnings and then ultimately to do good. Just the very fact that he actually admitted that on camera, and amongst the other malapropisms that he's had in the last like 2 months, he just constantly spews like BS that comes out of his mouth. I don't think he really realizes exactly what he's saying half the time. That just says it right there. I mean, the biggest province in the country, 14 million people, and he's basically taking instructions from an unelected health bureaucrat who themselves probably don't know who they're receiving instructions from, who suffer a single day's knock in pay. And in the case of Michael Williams, who's the chief medical officer of Health for Ontario, he earns over 400,000 Canadian dollars every damn year. I mean, Bonnie Henry's probably in the 350 category, and Henshaw's probably a similar.
They're all up there. Yeah, they're all up there.
And so, what is this? Like, what you look at all these ICU numbers, less than a hospital a person. Like, if you work out the averages, right? Like this massive surplus capacity. How stupid are we? Like, how stupid are we as a population to continue to tolerate this crap? Like, how idiotic can we be that we continually see this absolute absolute falsifying or fudging or sexing up the numbers in order to continue justifying what you clearly see in other jurisdictions is not happening. This isn't happening in Texas. This isn't happening in South Dakota. This isn't even happening in fucking woke California, but it's happening here. We can't fucking go to ball games. We can't go to bars. We can't go to restaurants. We can't fucking go to shops. We can't meet people. You know, like whatever. I said this today in my vlog. Whatever happened to choose your own fucking risk level? You want to wear a fucking face diaper? You wear it. You want to stand apart from me? Fuck off. You can stand apart from me. I'm not holding you here. You know, you want to go to a game? Go to a game. You don't want to go to a game because you're afraid of the fucking flu? So then you stay home. You know, you don't tell me what to do. You know, in the meantime, your family, in the case of Doug Ford, that is, your family's making money hand over fist with your deco labels, and you come from a wealthy family. You're sort of a blue blood in Etobicoke, in the city of Toronto, and all these other jackasses too. Like, I'm so sick of it already. Like, we're so sick of this conversation. All of us here, we're spending all this time like trying to parse it out, and it's like, in the meantime, all we want to do is just get busy and do good stuff. Want to build things, want to interact with people, want to sit with our friends for a barbecue. You know, we want to just go and hang out without some stupid dragnet. Anyway,
want to get medical procedures. I've had 2 medical procedures canceled because I can't wear a mask. It's not I'm an anti-masker. It's not I don't want to wear a mask. I have trauma that precludes me from wearing a mask. It induces panic attacks. I cannot wear a mask. I have had 2 medical procedures canceled now because I can't wear a mask.
The willingness the willingness that people have to buy into this, because, and Ezra Levant says this so often, but he's so right. Like, and I hate to say it, like, outside of certain provinces, and we've seen this at various crises throughout the last year plus. You know, we had the train situation just before all this Corona shit back in 1920, and people in Edmonton were getting up and like removing the detritus and the stuff that was blocking the tracks. You know, they were protesting whatever was going on with Trans Mountain pipeline, the gas pipeline, basically, that was going on up in the north part of BC and Alberta. Save for very notable examples, Canadians are very, I said this before, they're very, very craven. They're very, very timid. They're very accepting of their government. You know, like, I think it's very shocking for people to realize, and these are even people that come from former command systems, the blocs, the Soviet Unions, the whatever, you know, even the Cubas. You know, like, it's very difficult for people to believe that it's actually going on here. Like, it's very difficult. Like, it's almost like psychologically traumatizing to think, holy shit, I've gone from the frying pan to the frying pan. Like, you know, most people thought they were coming to something that was completely open and free. They came back to another kind of a sexier kind of a tyranny. You know what I mean? Like, it's a tyranny where you have money. Well, let's just say you have stuff, you have things, tchotchkes, toys, devices, you can travel. You can travel, you have a car. Yeah, but you're still a slave in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you can't go anywhere. I mean, all things being equal, you can come and go and do all this stuff, but you're still under a kind of a tyranny. And
with veneer.
That's the suppository. That's how they're able to get this one across. They slide it in because it comes in a very sort of in a lavish package. It doesn't come. Sorry, all this. I'm giving all these little terms. The Sarge is laughing because I'm using all my sexy language. But like it comes in this kind of form.
It comes wrapped in Tim Hortons.
That's right. You know what it is? It's a fucking turd wrapped in glitter. That's right, Tim Hortons.
It's a shit sandwich with a little bit of lettuce and tomato and extra mayo.
And it's happening, and we're in it.
There,
you know, like I talked today. You know, just like, fuck, man. Like, enough already. Like wake up, man. I want to like smack people. You know, like, wake up, you fool. Like, since when is the government your friend? Why are you going to bat for the government? Because I said it's psychologically traumatizing. It'll put people in kind of a psychological rift if they have to believe that the government in Ottawa is not actually standing up for your best interests. You're tax cattle and just a warm body, a walking water bottle of biochemical reactions. You're not a person that has needs. You're not a representative of an illustrious race. You're not an inheritor of this great traditions that we have from all of our big achievements and, you know, over the course of our 154 years almost. it's none of that. It's just all you are just like you're a farm. You're a farm team for, like I said, the major wasn't here, but you're a farm team for whichever system is trying to like pilfer from your system. You're a petri dish for the fucking Chi-Coms that want to come here and try all their various techniques, and they're going to see which one works and which ones doesn't. It's fucking trial and error, mix and match shell game. Let's see. We're like little pawns. Like they're the Geppetto to our Pinocchio.
Excellent, Smithers. Excellent. Exactly. You nailed it, Adam. Chris?
You did, and for me, and I'll close on this and depart the fix after this. The socialized healthcare system has been a nice little 60-year pillow and a nice little cushion that has been the little, but we have healthcare. So there's the nice little socialist cushion. We're nice and healthy here because we have healthcare right? And of everything else that's going on, this health crisis has just been, and everything else, it's just been a perfect storm to create everything. Right? I mean, we're a well-off country. We've always been very rich. And from 1958, and, that's what, 63, math in public quickly, 64 years ago, having the Avro Arrow. And from the Avro Arrow, 1958, March 23rd, to where we're at today, and socialized healthcare. I'll just throw that in there. I mean, that's why we're so great, right? That's why in our mind we're so great in Canadians' minds, because we've always had healthcare, and that's the little socialist layer that's made us complacent.
Well, people forget that a lot of those tax dollars go to our socialized healthcare, and people forget that. Fred can verify this too. How many of these SJW videos have we seen from so-called lefties?
I was actually going to say, America has basically been indoctrinated for the last 20 years that the Canadian healthcare system is the best thing since canned beer. And it's mate, you have to wait so goddamn long to get a surgery in Canada. I mean, it's definitely not the best. Sure, socialized healthcare is not the worst thing in the world. I'm not going to make that argument, but I'm not saying it's great either. And these American politicians that always say like AOC and stuff, Canadians can have healthcare, why can't we? And it's I'm sorry, but our system is not that terrible. It's not ideal, it's not perfect, but why do we have to make this massive government legislation to I don't know, get pills, get a surgery? It shouldn't take 6 months for me to get surgery done, right? That's not good. But outside of all this stuff, I find it funny. The Liberals in our country claim that the Canadian healthcare system is so great, yet the same Liberals that are so keen on the vaccine down south of the Canadian border, the Canadian government has barely even issued this vaccine, haven't they? I don't even think it's really... How many people have even gotten it? Our country is 51% of the population has got the vaccine. Now, I'm not saying you should get it or you shouldn't, but I'm just saying, if the Canadian healthcare system is so good, then why is it taking so long to get something as simple as a jab?
Yeah, and go ahead.
So I'm going to depart after this, having had treatment in Germany, a mixture of private and public healthcare system, and having had treatment and cancer treatments there, and having had treatment in the U.S. and under the Canadian system, I can say comfortably that I've seen 3 different healthcare systems, and they all have their different benefits and detractors. So have a good night, everybody. It's nice seeing you again, Fred. Take care, ADM. Thanks for hosting, Crusty, and we'll see everybody next week. Thanks so much, guys.
Take care, Chris. All the best.
See you, Major.
Alrighty.
Yeah, it's one thing to have public socialized medicine, but if your life between the time you're born to the time that you die is such rubbish, because you don't have any opportunity, because you can't exercise your free will, you can't, any capitalist endeavor that is remotely in the American style robber barony, like where you just want to be the best, like that's what America's great for. Like if you're going to be ostracized and pilloried by your co-citizens for being too American, what's the point of just being healthy from here to here? I mean, is that what we are? Existence is just like, eat, sleep, shit, screw, and then make sure you're like people do. See, with socialized medicine, I'm not sure if it's like this in Australia and New Zealand, but like, you have people that go to the doctor because they have a sniffle, like that. Like there's like an old lady that has a sniffle, and she'll go and sit. She has nothing better to do with her day, so she'll go and sit in the doctor's clinic for like 3 hours, and she can get a script from a or whatever the case may be from some doctor that gives her like a once over. Like that's going to gum up your system, and that's going to make it enormously inefficient. So on the micro level, some people might be getting like healthcare, but on the macro level, like is that what we're known for? So the country sucks. You can't do fuck all. You can't make like a proper income, but don't worry. Your whoozy what's it's going to work, and you'll be able to shit right, and you'll be able to breathe right, and you're able to take pills that everything's going to be hunky dory. Like that's not a way. That's not a life. I'm sorry. Like that's.
No, I agree. Like when I was working at the hospital, you'd see tons of people come in certain times of the night or in the afternoon over a sniffle or a head cold. Okay, you're almost obliged to tell this person, go home, take an aspirin, take this, drink some hot tea, try to blow your nose, take a hot shower, and get some rest. That's the basis of a head. That's how you deal with a head cold. Sure, doctors, they're obliged to look at you and everything too, but in the same sense, when you look at our socialized system, okay, it does benefit. Let's say an average Joe is working on a ladder, falls off a ladder, he falls down, goes boom. Oh my God, broke my leg, broke my foot. Okay, boom, snap. You're looked after. Here's your cast. Here's your painkillers. You have any more problems? Give me a call in 6 weeks or 8 weeks after we can take the cast off and look at. See, that's fine. But there's also, I don't know if you can remember this, but about maybe 12, 15 years ago, there was a big sting in Ontario with the Ontario health cards. Right, there was some plagiarism going around. They end up catching something like 1,200 of them or more. They were fake. They were counterfeited, and half of those cards supposedly belonged to people that didn't even live in Canada. So that's where I go. Okay, so what's being done with the security element of that too? You're trying to protect Canadian investment, which is investing in our healthcare, investing in what we do, that the tax cycle goes all around from province to province, from federal to provincial to even municipal, goes in the big pool to look after this and look after that. But then you find something like that will have a financial impact later on down the road. And what was done about it?
Yeah, and then you have the phenomenon talking about fraud, healthcare fraud, is you have people that wait to get like, I don't know if this is actually still common in the time of Corona, but you have people that are abroad that get like deathly ill. They hop on a freaking airplane and they come to Canada and they want all their major surgery done. In other words, they would never get it done in their India, their Pakistan, their Senegal, their Venezuela, whatever. And they get deathly ill and they come off the plane, and the first thing, within a 2-month period or less, they're in the hospital, being paid for by the Canadian taxpayer. That's also enormously disingenuous. And people that have realized that there are loopholes to exploit in this country are perfectly willing to exploit them with zero compunction as to the ethical or knock-on economic effects from what some would consider not to be fraud, because they're giving it to me anyway. So why is it fraud? Fraud's only if I have to scheme or if I have to sort of, machinate to get it, But if they're giving it to me, well, it's not fraud. It's just Canadian government giving it to me. I mean, I remember these stories. We used to have these exchanges all the time where like some guy comes in from some Arab country to like the, to the pokey office, and he's like getting angry at like the at the welfare officer. And he's like, my wife needs like a bigger bed. She's got a back issue. She needs like a softer, plusher mattress or something more sturdy. Can you please give her like a bigger bed? And the lady's like, with respect, like, I'm giving you what I'm giving you, and this is what we give you, and you'll have to make do with whatever we give you. Smacking his fist on the table, well, maybe not so virulently, but he's like, no, she needs a special kind of a bed. It's like, so he's like, wait, let's just like back up a couple steps. Sir, if I go to your country, can I ask for a king size bed with like a whatever specially designed, A-class 5-star mattress? No, we don't have welfare in our country. She just goes, see my point, you know? And like, he walked out of there all disgruntled and stuff. There's people like that they actually love it. They just love it. They love the largesse. And, and this particular government that's in power in Ottawa is perfectly content to continue to buy people's votes, and perfectly content to placate and mollify people, and to offer them blandishments and various other sort of enticements to get them to basically be there when they drop the writ, fucking vote the red, right? So it's the color of red, obviously the Liberal Party. Yeah. So that's it. It's like I totally, entirely understand the disgruntlement of people out West Saskatchewan, especially in Alberta. I just totally get it when they go like, you Easterners, you constantly fornicate us, you constantly sodomize us, you screw us over again and again and again. Like we're yanked into the vortex down the chocolate whizway of your horrendous political decisions, and we can do nothing to resist it because of the damn structure of the system in terms of when Alberta and Saskatchewan joined Canada in 1905. Like, we really don't have anything that we can do to counteract it. Like, I totally understand the rancor, and then the sense of abandonment, and then how it actually manifests in terms of people's psychology, suicidally, or people get extremely despondent. Like, when the oil patch was rocking, people at least could distract themselves from the political bullshit and live high on the hog with the tremendous revenues that were coming in from the patch. But now that the patch is almost a dead letter, there's all the old issues come back to the surface, which just further drives the point home that the system's not working, and that the structure of the country as it's presently constituted is not working for the majority of the citizens. That's a lot to say, but that's kind of how I feel about it.
Fred?
We need peaceful divorce. I think that many states in the U.S., provinces and territories in Canada, I think we should just kind of like, if we can't get along and just make our own decisions, we should just create our own places, honestly. It would be much better than all the civil war, civil unrest ideas. That doesn't sound too fun. I don't want to kill people. I don't want to see people get killed. And if we had a civil war or civil unrest in our country for a long period of time, there'd be like 60+ million casualties easily.
It would be, yeah, based on my assessments and conversations I had with other veterans and even serving members too, it would be one catastrophic event after the other. You wouldn't just find a few people here get hurt or a few people there get hurt, or a notional business going up in smoke. There would be such panic and such chaos, people wouldn't know what to do. The psychological impact alone would be devastating. Not to mention, let's say veterans such as myself, other veterans too, that might have to, the notional break glass to get out and to do something. The fundamental protection is protecting my home and my wife and my family. I have family in Ontario. My notion would protect them as well too. That's my own personal, this is where my heart is. Right. I would hate to see that. But when I see a lot of these people going around talking about how we have to spend more money here, and as Adam mentioned about certain welfare recipients, and what I've witnessed too, it's almost like a real sense of entitlement, because some officials keep saying, yes, we can give this to you, we can give this to you. When I was trying to get my paperwork and everything sorted upon my release from veterans from the military with Veterans Affairs, it was nothing but a bureaucratic boondoggle. I had to get my local MP to get the firecrackers up these people's butts to get them going. I know what Chris went through when he had to get his stuff going, and I'm well aware of his representative in his area too. He's been known to harass people for saying things out of line towards the Liberal Party. So that speaks for itself. And if I'm going to sign a contract for 20 years of my life and I give this to you, then you give me what I promised. It's the same thing, you work for any job. Let's say you start your own construction site there, Fred. You hire a bunch of people on, you grow, you get tenders, you get contracts here, get contracts there. You develop a good foundation, you develop good profit. Because of that profit margin, you can add health benefits. optical benefits, whatever. And then you get someone who works for you for 20 years, you're going to honor that, right? If you have generating enough currency to give this person a pension, to give this person any kind of kickback, you can do that. And if you don't honor that, then, legally speaking, that person can turn around and sue you. Now, a lot of Canadians have done that to Veterans Affairs in regards to mefloquine, in regards to gentlemen being in wheelchairs, wounded, in regards to nasty head injuries that they incurred on overseas operations other than war. There's been a history of the bureaucratic bullshit and the monopoly that goes with it. And it's like, can these people not take responsibility for what they are doing? Again, it looks after the party mandate. Whoever's the governing body at that time, they will dictate what goes on. I would like to see these offices be nonpartisan and just stand up for the people they're supposed to represent. The Ministry of Natural Resources, look after the environment. Okay, let's lighten the quotas a bit here when it comes to getting a moose tag or a deer tag. Let people hunt. Every hunter that I know uses common sense. You don't need to police every hunter that comes onto an area to grab a moose or a deer. I'm not saying take 20 deer on one trip, but I am saying let's be a little more lenient and promote more liberty, especially when it comes to Veterans Affairs. There's proof this person's been hurt. Oh, can you prove that's service related? Well, duh. He was in uniform the whole time when it happened. I'm pretty sure it's service related. It doesn't take a rock. It's just looking for an excuse not to do something. And then the moment they get criticized, it's like, oh, well, we're trying our best. It's like, little kids do that kind of shit. Functioning adults don't, right? So it's just.
And then there's the other aspect when you compare what's happening, the mismanagement of the veteran file, compared to how easily money is available for illegal migrants or for people that cross to the Roxham Road, or their extended family members, which is a very wide reach, has a very wide interpretation in terms of who you can be on a family reunification basis. Like it's always been said, and most Canadians we don't even talk about this issue anymore. But if you enter Canada illegally at the Roxham Road, you are declared or you are considered to be a refugee, and you are quickly brought to most likely a refugee facility, most likely in the Greater Toronto and Hamilton area. You're bussed in from Quebec all the way on the road, after a short stay in Montreal. However, you walk, it just boggles my mind. You walk over the border at Roxham Road, but your family members are allowed to enter through a legal port of entry. Your wife, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your cousins, I think even the primary caregivers to said individuals are considered to be part of the family circle. They are allowed to come through YUL, YYZ, YYC, YVR, any one of the big airports in this country. That knocks me for six. Like when I think about just how astonishing that is. Back to the veteran file, like these guys have to go and just, they've done the yeoman's work. I mean, they in some cases they've lost. Forget about their psychological damage, which is you can't even quantify that. Just like the visual damage objectively from losing a limb, losing an eye, losing a finger's heaven forfend, losing a leg, losing this, that, the other. And then just how easily money's available for BS causes or for money that they give away for complete yakety yak. They give it to countries that don't deserve it. They give it away to countries for bullshit initiatives, for you know what I'm trying to say, like for abortion clinics in some ridiculous third water, shithole country, whatever the case may be. I mean, it's, if we're going to go on that road, I mean, we can split hairs about how they try to shimmy, shake, and wriggle out of having to pay veterans their just deserts, their fair share. But then just look at how much money is wasted. I mean, it's like an open tap. It's an open tap with no governor. There's nothing on it that prevents, like, it's just an open flow. It's like you know what I mean? It's like there's nobody that's actually shutting it off. Like if somebody walks away and get on the phone and the tap's running for like another 3 hours, it's okay. It's like there's more where that comes from. It's just sickening.
Mm-hmm. Lawrence Turney says Veterans Affairs is there to save the government money by denying benefits. It's not there to support veterans. Member of 38 years. Well said, Lawrence. Well said. Yes, I'm one of the maybe the lucky ones that did get some benefits and some payouts. But in the same sense, I got taxed on that. Ironically enough, go figure, eh? And there's a few friends I have in Ontario, and I keep their names private, because they don't need the backlash, and they're still waiting for benefits. One gentleman, bad back. A lady I know, terrible knees, fell horrendously. She lived, but she had some terrible knees because of it. And just the fartlegarb that comes from her representative or her cubicle monitor, per se, that's supposed to look out for her best interests. So yeah, it's an effing joke. And it doesn't matter what prime minister is in charge or not. It's these ministers of national defense that set up these mandates. The treasurers, whatever gets their hands involved, set up these mandates. It's horrendous. As a member of the VCP, I'm not going to sit and promise this, promise that, but I'll definitely look into it and see if it's worth the taxpayers' dime or not. I'd rather get more veterans involved with Veterans Affairs, actual people that have been on the front lines, whether in some peace support operations or actual fucking combat, so they can actually relate to a soldier's pain or relate to an injury, right? Just how, well, for example, the CFOs, firearms officers, they're usually ex-cops who know the law, right? They have a background in it, so therefore, okay, they're more qualified to do it. Some just don't care, but I think you get my point. Well said, Lawrence. Yes, that's one thing I can bring up to the leader of the party too in regards to that. So,
great comment. That's a great comment.
Fred, my question about why does the West have to why are we obligated to give our money to the third world, like Adam was saying? This is the stuff that really pisses me off. Why is there any homeless people in America when we spend literally billions of dollars overseas? Why are we doing that? There should not be one homeless person on the streets in this country. There shouldn't be one homeless person in Canada. There really shouldn't. Everyone should have a place to stay. Everyone should be fed. And I'm not a communist that's distribute the wealth and all this stuff. No. If we have money that we are taxing people on, it's our money. It should go to our people. It shouldn't go to some foreign country I can barely speak the name of. Because
exactly.
Racist, but I don't know any of these places.
I can answer that because you have a lot of these. You heard of this modern monetary theory horseshit, right? This redistribution on crack. You have a lot of people that are actually running these various budgets, or that have their hands on the purse strings, so to speak, that don't understand macroeconomics and money. I mean, I sincerely think money to them is not a concrete item. It's not like I only have X number of dollars, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And once that hundreds of thousands of dollars runs out, then I don't have any more. I have to go and make some more, or I have to find some more. People that are actually doing all this disbursement to all of these. You're a little bit scratchy there, Fred, on the mic there. Okay.
You're playing money.
Yeah. So the people that are in charge of this disbursement don't understand economics, and they're of the opinion, and I've heard people actually say this before, where there's so much more money where that came from. It's just an abstract concept. A few million here, a few million there, throw it on the tab. We lambaste them, and because they're imbeciles in terms of not being able to run a common household budget. But according to modern economic theory, monetary theory, excuse me, there's scads of cash lying around. It's hidden in little crazy, Sarge does this all the time, makes jokes, but it's like conjuring. It's like casting spells. There's money everywhere. There's money everywhere. If you need money, you can find a source for it. So trying to come to them with the very logical and very strict accounting argument, like X number of dollars, Y number of expenditures, X minus Y equals, Z number of here's my up or my down, here's my red or my black or my red. It doesn't compute for these people. They're being encouraged by people that in our various sort of treasuries and economic ministries to just go, hell bent for leather, just go and go in whatever's going to get you the required plaudits from all the international bodies. They're looking for all of the plaudits and the strokage, and they're looking for the accolades from all the different bodies.
You said that's so elegantly. Strokage.
Yeah. That's what
stroking off.
Yeah. That's what they're going for. So it's it's a great question, Fred, but that's not you're not going to get like
you won't get these answers from people that don't think like us because they just think money can be thrown around. It's essentially what you're saying.
Fucking talk to
They
somebody.
forget it's basic marketing. You have to produce something, and someone wants it, and they buy it in exchange back and forth. Basic high school marketing. We have a great resource in this country, our oil and natural gas sector. It can go to market. We have the highest standards, I think, on the globe, next to a couple of companies in Texas that actually produced great natural gas that follow environmental regulations, right? But we can't do it because there's other interests that have their hands in the Canadian production. They don't want these pipelines because the Tides Foundation and the Make Way Foundation want to have their hand in it too. Warren Buffett owns half the railways that transport our oil down south. Okay, so all of a sudden we have a market in the east, that comes to the Eastern Asia, i.e. Micronesia or Australia, some of those islands. I know Vietnam took an interest in our oil and gas. They don't want Chinese garbage. They want ours. But no, we can't have that because it's environmentally unsafe. It's dirty, filthy oil. Yet, out of all the communist countries, I think Vietnam is probably the most liberating out there because they encourage people to live there cheaply. Needless to say, there's a market for it. But all these conglomerates have their hands in everything, and we cannot produce to get out there. We have to keep everything for Quebec and keep everything for the liberal conglomerate. And I'm not talking about the Liberal Party. I'm talking about the so-called liberal conglomerate, Laurentian elites, what Trudeau made his fortune on, right? And all the buddies of interest there, too. And Quebec buys Saudi oil and buys Venezuelan oil, all dirty, filthy oil because it's mass produced. Yeah, it's great, but they still beat women in Saudi Arabia, as far as I know. They just recently let women learn how to drive. I think last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
So they can get it cheaper. Yet they're sitting there laughing at Alberta and pissing on Alberta's cornflakes. Okay, they don't mind getting the equalization that comes from it too. So that's like mom and dad paying your rent. You're dissing mom and dad, but they're still paying your rent. Like, how is that fair?
Personally, I'd rather get oil from Canada than Saudi Arabia or Venezuela. I'd rather not get oil from a dictatorship. That's just my opinion. But as far as because I see this lady wants to talk about C16, I can finish this up quick. This should in our Western nations, we should just be independent from the rest of the world. Why do we care what the Europeans have to say? What a garbage backwards society where they have let in so many people that they're going to be outpopulating the locals in 50 years. There's not going to be any white people left in Europe in 50 years from now. I'm not some neo-Nazi that's believes in this, I don't know, utopia of white people.
You're looking at the civic side of it. Yeah, I can understand.
A country, Germany is not Germany without German people. That's what I'm trying to say here. So why should we listen to people that have failed economic policies in Greece and Spain and Italy? Failed economic policies there. Failed integration of people into their country with Germany, Sweden, Britain. And we're still listening to these people. And they keep getting stuff wrong. So why do we really care what they think about us? It's all about, honestly, if we get down to it, it's money and it's not looking like a bunch of racists. And to be honest, I don't really care if I'm called racist because I think there shouldn't be one new immigrant in this country until every one of our people is set. We should not be spending money and bringing people into this country, spending money on other countries and bringing people into this country until all of our people are all set.
They have complexified, if that's a word. They have made very straightforward input-output solution type of situations into Gordian knot, intractable problems.
Yes.
Everything had a very simple approach. I mean, Canada wouldn't even be a country if we didn't have that, dare I call it, the Protestant work ethic, even though the Catholic side of the country is very prominent in the founding of the country. Just to say that if we didn't have that work ethic, but now everything is I hate to compare it to this, but everything is as intractable as the frickin' Middle East peace process. Every little thing now has a little, it's like that thing, if you flick on this switch that it throws these things off. But if it's like trying to edit for all the editors out there, it's like trying to edit your timeline without using an automatic ripple, so that once you pull something off the timeline, it throws everything else off whack. It wasn't this difficult. Between what the Sarge is saying and between what Freddie's saying, Are you telling me it's that difficult? We had this, I mean, when I was in Alberta too, it was like this conversation is like so easy to have. Like you got this beautiful multi-trillion even dollar resource that's actually in the sands that is mined in a very efficient and environmentally friendly way.
Yeah.
There you go. There's money there. You know, we have a deficit problem of almost 400 billion in this country. No problem. We'll start piecing and chewing away at it with the beautiful, with the oil sands revenues that we can have, and then we'll try to come back to zero. It doesn't. These people that are actually in charge of these decisions, or what seems to be in charge of these decisions, they don't want to hear from people like you. They don't want to hear from your they don't want to hear your generally accepted accounting principles. They don't want to hear about your GAAP. They don't want to hear about your, operating in the black. They don't want to hear about your sound economic policy. They don't need that. It's all about a fucking miasma cloud of as the Sarge would say, a fucking polar vortex of bullshit. That it's designed to like reflect laser beams off of all of these different surfaces that never end up fucking coming to rest. It's just about keeping the fucker moving, right? It's just about keeping the ball bouncing all over the show. It's not about coming to rest or like finding a solution. That's kind of what it is.
Another thing about the European thing, because we've been talking about all this great reset crap. Why don't these people, all the elites that are in like this, that come out just absolute, I think they're all losers, honestly. They don't even bother coming out to show their true colors. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all these people, right? They've combined wealth of literally trillions of dollars. Like, and not to mention you have Klaus Schwab, who's one of the richest bankers in Germany. You have George Soros, you have Bill Gates. The richest people on earth could solve literally hunger for hundreds of years. Yet they decide to push all this stuff so they can take your money to redistribute it and create communism, essentially. Make you happy, allegedly, but you will not own anything. Interesting. But yeah, we shouldn't be getting advice from people outside of our country that don't have a best interest at heart. That goes for every Western country. I'm thinking I need to find a tax haven. I'm gonna find like Bermuda or Andorra or something. One of these tax havens, because it's looking really appealing right now. With Joe Biden.
Belize looks really good. Yeah, Belize and Costa Rica, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm
thinking, Andorra would be cool because I don't mind a little bit of a European society. Seems all right. Anyway.
Even Switzerland, but
Switzerland would be sweet. Yeah. But that's where all the World Economic Forum stuff is, though. So I got to get away from that.
Understood. I got a comment here from. I'm trying to catch up the comments here. Ms. Kelly Harding said, "Stop Canadian censorship bill C10." Yes, we're firm believers in stopping it too. And what gets me, I try to cue up a video here from Mr. Stephen Golibert. I don't care if I mispronounce his name or not. I know, Adam, you're a linguistics aficionado.
No, I have no problem if you pronounce Carmelita and Pops
Carmelita.
Joe, Pops Joe and Carmelita. But with respect to the Canadian politicians, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, as I was saying, I was going to cue up but I'm sure everyone here, especially out there in Crusty Canuck land, the viewers alike, have seen his little squirm on CBC, and I might give CBC a little tilt of the hat there for actually doing some proper reporting, drilling him like they did. And when you actually watch the video, just go to CBC and look up Stephen Gilbert, the heritage minister, and the interview he had, and just really squirmy little wormy BS that he was trying to promote with Bill C10, right? Trying to justify everything. Now, my concern is, I salute Rachel Harder for standing up to him in session. They should be in the House of Commons, period. None of this Zooming meeting. I'm getting so tired of that. But in the same sense, they should be face-to-face questioning what the hell you doing, honestly. Like, what, we all have a choice what we want to watch on television. And with the advent of the internet, even better. People still have choices. And what gets me, they more or less put this fucking bill together just to tell people what they can watch, what they can't watch. Gentlemen.
I like to think that there's a bunch of different versions of this C10 in place. There's like the full intensity, full bore, maximum clampdown C10 version, which is the one ultimately that they want to have. And then there's the ones that they know that are realistic. In other words, there's like a realistic range of C10. And I suspect that there will be obviously pushback because there is already, and it's going to be maybe they're accounting for a little bit more virulent or maybe a little bit more sort of vociferous at the outset, but then it's going to calm down a little bit once the next crisis comes along. So they're going to introduce like a slightly toned down, slightly readjusted C10. And that's ultimately what we're going to settle on. But best believe that there is an actual hardcore full metal jacket in your face C10 version, which these guys would love to put into place. That would give them ultimate control, like talk about major wizard behind the curtain stuff. So I don't know where it's going to settle down at. But I mean, it's like all these other things, whether it's Vax Passport, whether it's like mass vaccinations, whether it's C10, like all this shit's already in the pipeline. Like the fact that you're hearing about it is like the Doppler effect echo long, you're hearing about, it's already in the system. Like it's already, it's already invaded the corpuscles. It's already in there. Like it's poisoned your bloodstream. You just have to, your body hasn't reacted to it yet. So that's kind of what's going on with this stuff. I mean, I'd like to see ultimately what it's going to look like when it finally settled down. But thank goodness for alt tech. I mean, thank goodness for the Rumbles and the Gabs, and for Andrew Torba at Gab, and thank goodness for the BitChutes. And thank goodness for the Minds and all the other platforms and the Subscribe Stars and things of that nature, that at least we still have that option in case somebody all of a sudden decides to put the clamps on us. But it's less so the censorship; it's more so the people that you're in society with, trying to get along with, and it's just sometimes it feels like Pyrrhic victories, So okay, so they don't get you on the mainstream channels. Okay, so you hop off to alt tech, but you still have all the people that are watching the mainstream stuff and the media party stuff, and they're getting indoctrinated by the femtoseconds. So what's the add-on? Okay, they don't catch you. You're living in Belize, but your home country is being occupied by space invaders. It's I hope you know what I'm trying to say. It's how are we benefiting here? And in the meantime, these assholes are going to cocktail parties and having fucking flutes of champagne and canapes, like you saw in the video, taking the mickey out of the last president, fucking prime minister there in a little gaggle with Boris Johnson and with Macron and with I think it was the Dutch prime minister was in that little quartet that they had, and they're taking the mickey out of Trump, and they're having fun because the prime minister can fucking get a cheap joke by, giving a little gut jab, rabbit punch, sucker punch to Trump. Like, it's just like this is what they live for, these fuckers, getting on a plane, watching some porn on the transatlantic, touching down in Zurich, on the way to Davos. That's what these pricks look forward to. He has nothing better to do with his life. What would Trudeau do all day if he wasn't actually doing this job? He'd be sitting home and whatever.
He'd be a gay stripper. We all know that.
Yeah.
Yes, he'd be gay stripping and boxing and getting his ass kicked by actual trainers.
Kangaroos.
Yeah, true enough. Well, I'll say that there's many choices out there, and that's the thing. But any governing body in a working democracy, I like to think that we still have a working democracy, not in every literal sense, but for the sake of the show. Why would anyone even legislate or table something remotely close to that? We already have hate speech laws. We already have legislation from the 70s that forbids anyone to say anything racial or anything prejudicial, for that matter. It's just a matter of covering their asses because they don't want criticism.
Well,
look at the snake that was
probably
made.
Isn't going to let me allowed in Canada.
Sorry?
That last video I just posted on YouTube, I guess I can't come to Canada now.
Oh, I mean, you're being banned? Well, that's okay. Just say you're my immigrant stepson or something like that, and we'll get you sorted out. We'll get you sorted out.
I didn't say anything prejudiced, but I think saying that multiculturalism is the greatest thing in the world is I don't know. That got Lauren Southern banned from America. Basically, she can't come here, which is freaking stupid. She's like pretty milk toast when it comes to that kind of stuff too. Yeah.
Well, there's a comment here by Gary Schill. He says, Discord has been great for free speech so far. Still, never trust anything online 100%. I think that's a good rule of thumb.
Discord is owned by Amazon. I don't trust it. So Signal, get Telegram. It's owned by some Russian chap. I don't know exactly who he is. And I actually, believe it or not, I actually trust the Russians on political stuff a little bit more, as weird as that sounds, but they're more likely not to turn you in. That's why I use Telegram. So yeah, but as far as other stuff, I try not to anything sensitive I want to send to anyone. I don't usually use Messenger or Facebook anymore because I worry a little bit about them turning stuff in.
Understood.
Also, I would not like to incriminate my overseas friends and family and all that stuff because you never know. Like, the New Zealand government right now is basically owned by China, so that would not be a good situation. Like, they just left the Five Eyes to get a closer relationship with China, and I have all this anti-CCP stuff. Chances are, like, it would affect them too, so...
Well, that's the thing. We just stand our ground as per. Like I say, there's alternatives out there. I just reinstated my Rumble account. I had some trouble with it with licensing before. But to my viewers out there, if you want to find me, you can find me on Rumble too. I got a couple of videos up there too. You can also find me on Facebook still. I'm also on Signal and Telegram. You can also just send me an email, and I'll leave an email for you guys to reach out to me too. Tonight, my guests are Fred Stockman, Adam Mezei. We had Chris Semchuk there earlier. This is the Sunday Fastball panel. This is the Fastball family, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be more members coming in time, but this will be a weekly program where us gentlemen sit and talk, chew the fat, talk about Canadian politics, American politics, world politics, and social issues that are affecting us as we speak today. So please don't hesitate. Ask us anything you'd like to know. We'll get your questions promptly and assuredly too. So let's see here.
I got a guest idea.
Pardon?
I got a guest idea.
Go ahead.
I think you should reach out to Simon Roche of Soodlanders. He's a South African lad. He was actually in the Law and Southern documentary Farmlands. Yeah, okay. He's that guy. He's got kind of like a scruffy-looking, like, patchy beard. You know what I'm talking about? He's like an Afrikaner. Mm-hmm. He would be an interesting guest. If you can reach out to him somehow, that would be cool.
Okay. Yes, I will consider it. Talk to me after the show there, Fred.
Yeah. Something I think about a lot is, best case scenario. So, you turn up the many lenders tables, you oust all the cretins, you clean house, you sanitize, you fumigate, whatever, you power brush, you jet brush the whole deal. And then you're not left with a tabula rasa. You're left with all of the collateral damage that these cretins have inflicted upon the society, the economy, the government, like over the course of their reign. And then if by some miracle some genuinely conservative government gets into power, best believe we have roiling foment a la what you see in Kenosha, Portland.
You guys don't want that.
No, but you'll get some imported pricks from wherever that'll that are going to be lighting bushfires and trying to get people all bent out of shape. Like it could happen up here too. If they don't get the electoral result they want, they'll keep smashing away at they'll keep chiseling away at the marble until they get what they want. Like another agonizing prospect, which I'm sure we've thought about, is, let's just say by some miracle, I don't think this is going to happen, but by some miracle, there's yet another minority government. Like we'll drop the writ again, and they don't have enough seats to become. You know what a minority government is, right? I don't have to explain it. So we have another minority government going on here, and then they're just waiting till they'll keep on mollifying again, buying off, placating, funds, blandishments, largesse, like I told you, until they finally get the result that they want. There isn't going to be, ultimately things can change, but like there isn't a conservative, solid, cogent clout block that can actually sink its talons, sink its fangs, so to speak, into this and get a good grip, get a good purchase. It's not in our current political firmament. It doesn't exist. It's not out there. I can't even fathom how it would happen. So these pricks, in one form or another, whether it's Champagne McKenna, Climate Barbie and Sajan and
Climate Babby. That one makes me laugh each time. I'm sorry. It's just
like use any and Gilbo or use any combo.
Catherine?
Use any combo. Like they'll keep on picking and shifting and shuffling, as it's known. They'll keep on shuffling until they get the combination that they want. But it's all garbage. It's all garbage. And then the most ironic thing is, people think it's actually fucking good. Like, people in this country actually fucking think these people are good. They think they're fucking good. They think they're good for Canada. They think they're good Canadians.
Want me to get conspiratorial for a second?
Yeah.
Just a second.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The thing is, right, is the reason why these people believe all this crap is because the media is owned by like 3 corporations. They live in a country that's controlled by a central bank, and they're basically told by everyone, because every major media corporation, every major company, your banking system across the world is owned by like 3 or 4 people, essentially. So if you want to get down to it, everything that we experience right now, it's not the concern is not the extremists. They want you to think the extremists are the problem. Your problem is not Antifa or Black Lives Matter or the Proud Boys or any of these groups, right? That is all a scapegoat, because the establishment created the environment to make these extremists exist. That is what happened. So the very establishment that manipulates your media, destroyed your economy, created the system that you live in, will use these extremists who hate the system to like basically scapegoat to. Now, or they make the extremists, like they'll make Antifa, they'll make black or elements of Antifa or Black Lives Matter, or they'll design fake like and this is all going to sound crazy, but fake hate groups and all this. But this sounds nuts. But just look at 1930s Germany. They would the Nazis would do this stuff. They'd stage hate crimes. They'd stage like violent attacks. They'd do this stuff to make themselves put themselves in power. So we are all part of we are all in the matrix right now. But we're the ones, us here. We're the ones that like trying to see what's going on, and. People just are kind of sheep. They're just part of the matrix back. Like they sort of live in it and they're really passive. They just move along. They're like,
here's an example of a staged crime. Sorry to interrupt you there, friend. Here's an example of a staged hate crime.
Watch the game. That's it.
Well, here's an example of a staged hate crime. ADM, I guess you remember the hijab hoax there, 3 years ago? Right? Little girl on television with her little brother, saying that an Asian man come up and cut her hijab, and he took off in a weird frenzy. And within 40 minutes of that actually happening, all of a sudden there was a press conference, and then after investigation by the Toronto Police Service, they said it never happened. There wasn't an Asian man with scissors that cut her hijab, right? And I felt bad for those little kids, because the little girl was sitting there telling her story in confidence, but she was also smiling too. So was her little brother. Now, I'm not blaming the kids. I'm not blaming the culture. I'm blaming the character. Okay? What did those parents say to those kids to tell the world? Who orchestrated that to tell the world? Okay? And this was just after the motion was passed the first time of M103. So when someone tells me there's a hate crime, you've got to be legitimate about it. Honestly, you've got to be legitimate about it. It's like, okay, what happened? That's
a very illustrative example, Sarge. We are so freaking gullible. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so the credulity is absolutely fucking astonishing. Like, and most people won't even remember that incident. They'll have to go and look it up because they don't even know. Like, it's just one ballon d'essai, one trial balloon after the other. It's just another little thing that they see. It's like basically when you this from the military, you'll test the integrity of the system. So you'll stress test it. You put it through its paces. You want to know how a firearm actually sort of responds in battlefield conditions. So you'll run it through shit, sand, muck, fucking water. You'll throw it, you'll kick it, you'll smash it over something. Like, you want to see how it functions in battlefield conditions. And I think that's kind of what all these different these various whatever proposed pieces of legislation, they're enormously and unethical, but just to say that's what they do. And yeah, I mean, that's an easy one. Fuck, I mean, Fred nailed it. I mean, it's just like you know, a little backhander, little grease job there, you know, whatever, pay off somebody, some organization, somebody gets some cash. You know, you pick a kid, you know, you can't throw a kid in jail, right? All you can do is discipline the kid, maybe, you know, and if there was some kind of a disciplinary thing where they go for some fucking counseling or whatever, you know, 1-2 sessions, and then it's like, move on. You got the next crisis to deal with, one after the other. It's like a lily pad. It's like literally in series, you know, like fucking, you know, AC/DC, you know, like it's just like it never ends, man. Yeah. Like and you know, okay, said company parses the issues. We have that ability to look into the, you know, we can pierce the matrix, but like most people don't have the they don't have the training for that. It's kind of the good way to describe it. They don't have the training for that. It's just it's the training is go to work, eat your fucking 3 squares, you know, say love your kids, shag your partner, go to sleep, repeat, you know, have your fucking coffee, wait in the Timmy's drive-through line, your number 15, order your little scone and your fucking egg sandwich and your double, drive to work, wait in the, I mean, when it's a normal year, wait in your traffic, you know, in a busy city, right? Wait in your traffic, go to work, go up the fucking escalator. How did you do? Talk about whatever, you know, issue du jour is, whatever's kind of hot button. And then do your little tic-tac work on your fucking little console, because everybody's got a computer, what they do, right? And then move on, next deal. It's just like, fuck, man, you know? And like, maybe this whole pandemic, air quotes, pandemic thing saved us from the drudgery. Maybe it saved us from the fucking, from the monotony, from the ennui. You know, this gave us at least something else to distract ourselves with. But I'm very unforgiving to the people that have the power to do something about this, because if this ever kind of reverts to some kind of a steady state, there's going to be a lot of disgruntled people, and they'll have destroyed a lot. And forget about the economy; they'll have destroyed a lot of people's lives, livelihoods, businesses, family ties. They've destroyed marriages. Some people even knocked themselves off. Some people even did themselves in.
And that's what we don't talk about too. We don't talk about the upskill of the opioid crisis and the people that have taken their own lives too. We don't look at that. Why not? I'm a guy who survived that. I thought about it. In 2014, I was not in a very good place, and I weighed my options. And when I see the federal government, especially the federal government, just dismiss it as it's nothing. Oh, well, you know, it's better that you wear a mask and you don't travel here. We can travel, but you can't. And yet when it comes to people that have actually taken their lives because they've lost their businesses or their marriages or relationships have gone, up shit creek because of this issue, where's the sympathy for that? Where is it? I'm hearing crickets. You know,
or people that require other very serious and grave surgical interventions. People that have cancers, the diabetes, the heart conditions, the other terminal, you know, diseases that have very difficult names to pronounce, neurological disorders. Those people's surgeries are getting postponed, shunted away. I mean, somebody here wrote, "COVID is all the world leaders stage right now," from Gary Schill. Great stuff, Gary. I'm reading all your comments. Like, it's that all that anybody talks about. Like I think today I mentioned on my blog, like, what was the big sort of like term du jour this time last year? How's your quarantine going? You having a good quarantine? Quarantine? What are you quarantining? Oh, I'm quarantining with this. Quarantine? What's the big word now? Vaccine? Do you vaccine yet? Vax?
Yeah.
You vax? You vaxxed up? Jabbed up? Get shots? You jabbed? Why not?
What will
be
next year?
You know? Yeah. So like, there's just like whoever see with my hands, whoever is doing this fucking thing is fucking loving it. The power.
Excellent.
The power is intoxicating. Like to be able to shift swaths of population that can do your bidding and in the process make billions of dollars. I mean, in you know, just by pressing buttons. I mean, like you want to grab half of these vaccinated people by the fucking throat and go like, you imbecile, like you twerp, like what are you doing? Do you realize what you're doing? You know, you with your advocacy, or you with your evangelism for experimental vaccines, so-called vaccines, like
it's not even approved by the FDA, and they're making us take it, which is it's kind of I'm pretty sure it's illegal. You can't actually make someone or force someone to take a vaccine or any medicine that's not FDA approved. So if it's not FDA approved, I'm not taking it.
Well, I was just reading something today on Instagram from one of the feeds that I follow. There's something, I'm sure maybe some of the audience members can talk about this. It's called airborne vaccination. In other words, you get vaccinated and you exhale vaccine shedding particles, and you in the same way that you can catch fucking SARS-CoV-2 from particles or droplets in the air, you can get
playing God.
You can get vaccinated passively by inhaling in the proximity of somebody who's been vaccinated. Moreover, Frank Vaughn was talking to me about this recently, and he was telling me, he goes, because I donate blood every 8 weeks, and so he was like, did you realize that there might even be two parallel streams of blood inventory, the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and the unvaccinated will be like the Kruger-Rands. It'll be like the fucking creme de la creme, the gold standard of blood. And then this fucking vaccinated inventory will be the compromised. And they're doing, I'm sure I'm going to go in shortly for my next appointment. I'm sure nobody's doing any kind of a fucking triage at Canadian Blood Services or at Emma Quebec in Quebec. Nobody's doing any triage at all. And now it's commingling. Now the inventories are commingling again. So we're not at the stage yet where you can ask people, did you get vaccinated yet? I know some fucking retailers are trying to pull this horse shit at various, because you've seen the signs, and I've sent you some of the stuff, Sarge, we talk about on our private Signal channel, where like you have some of these fucking filling stations, these petrol stations, gas stations that like on their fucking billboard at the entrance to the driveway on the on-ramp, they're like, discounts for vaccinated people, must show proof and stuff like that. Like at a Pioneer, which is probably another fucking franchise that I'm not going to go and patronize. We're not at that stage yet where somebody can ask you and then deny you something on account of that. But I mean, we're right now we're at that stage where people can get vaccinated and they don't have to tell you they've been vaccinated. So that means maybe they have some fucking shit that maybe they've gotten, I don't know, maybe they got the poison in their body. Now they're donating blood. Now you need a transfusion. You need 2 or 3 units of blood because you got into some kind of a car accident, heaven forfend. Now you're getting pumped up with tainted blood. Now we're going back to the fucking 80s. You remember this too, Sarge. Now we're going back to the 80s with the tainted blood scandal, which is why they had to revolutionize the Canadian Blood Services and refashion it from the ground up and maybe even destroy hundreds of liters of blood inventory because it had been tainted with whatever at the time, AIDS or
if a transfusion goes wrong, then you've got the HIV virus, because that was a big thing in the 80s too. It wasn't just the so-called gay disease. There were kids getting it. There were women giving birth that were getting it because of blood transfusions. Someone makes a mistake with the equipment or mix up the blood types. Oh, what's going on here? Oh shit, you got AIDS. Well, great. Here's a little kid who's got AIDS, doesn't know any better, and he's going to die when he's 9 or 10 years old. And now they want to do that with this. Like, what is that?
Tommy Gunn writes here, eugenics, enough said. Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, but another thing about it is the internet is this, in its pure form, is this ideal vehicle for all of us to rapidly share information and bring up sort of like the collective with rapidly disseminated, decentralized information. Okay, that's not what it is right now. At least that's the conception. Now you're thinking about things like C10 and everything else. Like, we're all very fucking smart people. Like, everybody in this audience and my esteemed panel mates, everybody's fucking sharp here. Like, everybody's on the case. Like, if I don't know it, you know it, and you're going to tell me. And if I don't know it, Fred knows it, and Fred's going to share it with us. So it's like, there isn't much shit that they can, there isn't speak about fastballs. There isn't a fucking fastball you can throw by these batters here. Like, we're all going to make contact, so the reason they want to kind of clamp down on the sharing is because, like, they want to basically make sure that your information comes through this fucking narrow, this narrow straw, that it doesn't come through like a wide pipe with much to compare. That is horrifying, actually, to think about that, where, like, if you talk to people from the bloc, you talk to people from Romania and Hungary and Poland, Czechoslovakia, whatever, East Germany at the time, like, they will readily, I remember talking to people like this a decade ago, like, they'll readily tell you that they were brainwashed. Like, we were brainwashed. They'll tell you, like,
exactly.
We didn't know any better. We were brainwashed. That's all they gave us, right? That's all the information they entitled us to. And now so now the information, it's what's happening with the C10 and other clampdowns orchestrated by globalist suggestion. It's of the same sort. It's a different kind of a pipe. It's a more sophisticated kind of an information, but it's a similar kind of unitary, uniform, very single messaging type stuff, right? Without much sort of bifurcation. There isn't any too much deviation from the main line, from the main through line. That's kind of what we're aiming towards now. And then people are overwhelmed, right? Like that's the other thing too. If you give a human being too many stimulus points, like if you give them too many fucking bright lights to follow or too many little tchotchkes to touch and stuff, they want the simple thing, right? Like they want the simple stuff. So Canadians are notorious for just taking simple shit. Like they just want the simple option. And very Canadians are very, maybe us too. I mean, I don't mean to make us like better than the average person, but like very susceptible to suggestion. Canadians are very susceptible to suggestion. And
I'd say more so now too, especially some of the content I've put up and some of the lewd comments I receive. My last episode, I asked any federal Liberal candidate or provincial Liberal candidate, I would like you to engage me with the debate based on the C10, based on some of the policies that have been pushed forward to all of us here. And not so much for our safety. It's like there's no backing up for these mandates whatsoever. And I'm sure, Fred, you've seen that in the States too, with a lot of the people on the blue and people on the red, on both sides of the fence. Where are these mandates? Give us the answers. We deserve the answers. Shit simple, right?
Yeah, it's nuts. The thing about free speech is like, I'm definitely a big fan of free speech, and the people that claim to be liberals, yeah, I am. I'm not someone that, like, me personally, I'm not going to say like stupid stuff. My thinking is like, I'm going to say what I ought to say, not what I want to. So I think, like, decency is of course good, but the problem with this stuff is like it's making truth illegal. It's making people that I would even go as far as say is these hate speech laws in America too. And because we have similar stuff also, I think all of them go too far. I would even go as far as the 1965 Civil Rights Act. There's some legislation there I would disagree with, not because I'm a racist, but because I think that if you are an individual and you wish to be a dick and do something terrible, like at the personal level, not like hurt anyone or say any, like do anything like incite violence. If you wish to not serve someone for like certain reasons, like let's say it's recently in recent years it's come up with like, remember that guy that didn't want to bake a cake for the gay couple?
Yeah, in Colorado, yeah. And he got pulled through the ringer for that.
That's really, okay, just go to a different bakery. Honestly, you don't have to give them this service.
Exactly.
That's what I don't understand. So, but the 1965 or 64, I guess, Civil Rights Act, whichever one it is, basically states that if you are you can't discriminate based on, characteristics you can't change. And recently it's been read into law that goes for homosexuals. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's cool because let's say if in that case, let's put it this way. If it doesn't work in that situation, okay, it clearly doesn't work. That's clearly unfair for the guy who's the baker. Then it shouldn't work in any of it. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm a racist person. Like I wouldn't discriminate if I had a shop. Like my cousin actually had a bakery, and they said even though they're Christians, they would bake a cake for anyone. It doesn't matter. Money's money. But if you wish to not serve someone for something, like that's up to you. It's your property. It's your shop.
Well, it's your business, and you're calling the shots.
Yeah.
And those two gentlemen that demanded that cake, they could have gone to any other bakery and got the same thing.
Go to a Muslim bakery and try to pull that move. You're not going to get the results you want. They're going to say no. They're going to say get out of here.
Wait a second, Fred. Muslims eat baked goods?
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Sorry, I had to check that. I didn't think they ate baked goods.
There is actually. What's funny is Stephen Crowder did he tried to go into like a Muslim like shop where they were making pitas and that sort of stuff. I don't know what you call it. I call it a bakery. I don't know what you consider that. I'm not very cultured.
I'm just yanking your chain. But yes, I agree.
You're making bread with a big oven. I guess you're a bakery.
Yeah. Okay. So fair enough. He went into a shop, right? And him and Not Gay Jared. I don't know if you just watched the show, but there's Not Gay Jared.
Yeah.
So he goes in. He's like, okay, so we really like a wedding cake, and actually, I think you should pull up that video. We should just have a laugh at it. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But he's basically, and he goes in, and the guy's like, no, we don't allow that yet. No, that's not cool. It was so funny, and they went to like 3 or 4 of them, and they got kicked out each time. It was so good.
Well, Dave Hemington says it's been over a year and we still have nothing in the courts. Rocco Galanti, he's a big-time attorney in Ontario, and 19 police officers are going to court, but it'll be the fall before that happens. Justice is broken. Now, those 19 police officers are basically standing up for Canadians. They're getting sick and tired of the lockdown mandates. They're getting sick and tired of the tarnishing of retarnishing, because I personally know a lot of great police officers that wouldn't even fathom doing what some of these officers are doing, i.e. the example I've used before, those 3 police officers hauling that kid off the ice in Calgary, or harassing business owners. And it's just, so good for them. Thank you, Dave, for that comment. Much appreciated. I might put some updates in that my next episode on the Crusty Canuck podcast. But yes, I will keep my ear to the ground to that for sure. Rocco Galanti has been really giving the justice system a hard time based on how they are dealing with these issues, even in some political decisions too, especially with the carbon tax. So I'll leave that for another story. But thank you, Dave, for that comment. Appreciate it. So everything is rigged from the time you were born. Well, yeah, there are a lot of people who have said that too. We'll take a few more questions, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll shut her down for the evening. So please get your questions in. If you can cue that video up, Fred, that'd be great too.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, really? Okay, is it private? Where'd you put it?
Facebook.
Okay, I'll check there. So
it's so good, man.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, we'll watch a video. We'll tell the fans to watch more videos there. Okay, watch a video. Here we go. As it's queuing up. Okay.
My YouTube save list is like 300 videos. There's so many weird things I have yet to watch on there, and this is one of them. And I just came across the other day. I forgot about it, but it was so good.
Oh, let's see here. Okay, no rule of law from Canada, Hamilton. Yes, Gary Schill. Attacking churches of all places is criminal. Yes, every place of worship, doesn't matter if it's a church, synagogue, or a mosque. It doesn't matter. No, all religion should be worshipped and appreciated in this country, regardless how you feel about it. I don't care if you're atheist. I don't care if you're Christian. I don't care if you're Muslim. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're agnostic. Whatever you want to believe in, that, as far as I'm concerned, that is your bloody given right to preach and practice your faith with safety, peace, and security. My concern is that when people take certain aspects of religion and try to incorporate it into everyday law, we have some problems. So I'll try to queue up this video.
My issue with that one is like the Satanist temples, they want like abortion legalized, which is pretty fucked up. Like, sorry to swear, but like they
swear you want.
Sorry, God. No. Yeah. So these Satanist temples, like because they believe in child sacrifice because they're nuts. They like abortion is part of their like worship, and that's like that should not be allowed. No way. You cannot do that. And then, like, of course, Sharia law with Muslims, like, that's not okay. You should not treat women like that. And I'm like the most anti-feminist person as it gets. I'm like, I want like a Mennonite wife. I want to like cover it up and all that stuff. But you know, Muslims is too hard. You can't hit women. That's not cool. Okay. Oh man.
I won't load on my. I mean, I'm doing something wrong there, Fred. But we'll try to queue up for next week's there too. So
next week, it's a good laugh. You will enjoy it. Definitely. Also, gay horse. That's another good one. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is.
Oh, great. From Mr. Justin Mears, $5. Thank you, Justin. Yes, taxation is theft. Well done, sir. Thank you, Justin Mears, for that contribution. So, and Gary Schill says too, even cops have had enough, not staying quiet. Well, yeah, like I said, those 19 cops, and there's a few in the woodwork too. And I don't blame them because they're protecting their positions. When you fear for losing your job for standing up for what's right, you know we have a problem. They had that problem in the 70s. When you look at that Sally Field movie, what was it? The one that got her an Oscar. I think you know ADM. Which one? That made her a star. She was fighting for a union. What was it? Shit. What movie was that Sally Field was in? She was fearing, all the staff in the factory was fearing for their job. She wanted to unionize. And the factory was a shit show, but she organized a union. She got it. A few people were harassed and fired, but the factory started working, productivity, people were getting paid again. So make a long story short.
Norma Ray.
Norma Ray. That's it. Yes. I remember the Second City parody on that too. That was that's classic comedy right there too. But within itself, yeah, Norma Ray. Thank you, Zyklon B, for that. So, yeah, thank you. Yes, Norma Ray. Yes, yeah, that's where Sally got her Oscar, where she really was liked. Everyone liked her. Exactly. So, if I understand.
Speaking of the Oscars, what a weird
group
of people.
Don't get me going on that. Don't.
I don't, and I'm in movies. I don't waste my time watching that shit. I would prefer to take my time. Seriously, what I would do is I'm going to turn on a fucking good series and I'm going to analyze the acting. I don't want to fucking watch Bryan Cranston go and fucking yippity yap about the pandemic. You can kiss my purple butt.
You know what I find even funny is like at these award shows, right? They're like, I never expected this. I can't believe I got the award. No way. It's like, mate, you were nominated. There was a chance you could have gotten the award. So, like, you had nothing prepared. It's like, shut up. You're not that relatable.
It's like I said in my episode. It's like the genuine art of acting, okay, has gone to the dogs. Yeah. I'm not saying actors who train now or people who've studied Shakespeare or understand the musical format from Broadway in New York to Chicago to Toronto to Montreal to London, England, and to some of the great performers out there. It's missing the fundamental essence of catching the moment. These movies were based on pain and despair. The actors were picked because of their gender and the way they were born, not because of the sheer talent they bring to the table. Like they're not. It's the same thing as music awards too. You and I, Fred, to talk about music, the Cardi B thing. It's like, what is this garbage? Like every generation. Times? Well, every generation has its dynamic. My parents are, from the 60s. They had their good music, granted. Okay. But my music came from the late 70s and 80s, some progressive rock and a lot of punk and alternative. Okay, so be it. What do kids have now?
There's no shared experience. That's the trouble. Like, there's too much. Like, the internet destroyed the music industry in a way because it made you be able to stream stuff, but it also made you, like, there's no shared experience. There's no, like, oh, we're going to go listen to the Beatles, or, like, there's nothing. Oh, AC/DC is really popular. Like, there's all these little bands. Like, music and entertainment is not what it used to be, basically. So there's no shared experience. Yeah. And movies got expensive to make. Like, really expensive to make. So now you have basically two choices. You either have a built-in audience, like a Marvel or Star Wars or, I don't know, DC, or you have you make like a cheap comedy or like cheap flick that's not really, you could care less about, you know what I mean? It's not something that, there's no creativity anymore, you know what I mean?
Well, they worry about the bells and whistles too. And, when I was training, it was a matter of captivating the audience and reading the scene and making choices. Adam, you know exactly what I'm talking about, making the choices. Some are better at it, some aren't. You look at the actor that played one of the Cardassians in Deep Space Nine. He wrote so many notes for that character, they end up having to publish a book as a guide to an actor on how to create a character. I forget his name. I'm terrible with names now with actors. He was the psycho in the Dirty Harry movie.
Oh, was that
he was the sniper? No, the first Dirty Harry movie. He was the psycho sniper. And Clint Eastwood's line in that, "Oh, I'm so worried about his rights." He was the killer in that. Craig Robinson, I think his name is, if I'm not mistaken. He played the Cardassian Taylor in Deep Space Nine, and he wrote so many detailed notes about that character to develop. Every time he put this makeup on, he'd think about it, because it took him like 2 hours a day to put the makeup on. And just all the development, which made it such a strong character, because he wrote so many notes, and all those notes he put together, it became a book. So it became like an instructional tool for some actors if they can get a hold of it. And that's what I appreciate. It's not about so much the fame and the fortune. It's that when you can capture that moment with somebody, it's like that perfect lyric, right? When you watch the Shakespearean actor look at Brutus and say, "Et tu, Brute," and feel that. Why? Why are you doing this to me? Why did you stick this in my gut? Why are there so many knives in me? You, my best friend, what are you doing to me? Now, pardon my William Shatner impression. Still, you look at the fundamentals of that. we don't see that. It's all about the look and who you're associated with and how hot the person is.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
you don't see how many takes come
or
from
if
that.
you're or if you're a POTS, like I said last week, POC. It's like if you're a POTS, not a POC or a BIPOC, you're a BIPOTS. And why? Maybe Fred doesn't know what I'm talking about, because like the C in Slavic languages.
Is this a POC color thing? Yeah. Okay.
But if you're reading, if it's a Slavic language that has been Latinized, not Cyrillicized, that C is at
my brother's looking at me and he's just laughing right now.
So the C is at unless you have a hook on it, in which case it's a cha. So it's BIPOC.
Oh my god! Sorry, my brother just goes. You know who's hot? Lizzo. I'm like, no.
Yeah, but like I was watching. I was happened to be watching TV the other night. It's like Batwoman's black now. What?
Lizzo? No,
Batwoman's black now.
Oh, Batwoman. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Batwoman's black now.
All
Commissioner Gordon's like black and everybody's black. What the like? All right.
Oh yeah, it matters. It's just we know the story.
Diversity. It's dumb.
I got nothing against diversity, but I prefer if you're going to write a story about somebody, then it shouldn't matter what color they are. It should matter what these characters can bring to the story to make it that much better.
I mean, can Black Adam be white? Black Adam, the new superhero that The Rock's playing. Yeah. So can Black Adam be white? Why not?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see because I know how woke what's his face is, Chris Evans is. I kind of want to see a gay person of color, Captain American, transgender, Muslim as Captain America. And instead of the American flag, like paraphernalia all over him, I want him to have a shield with like a pride flag, and then like an Islam crescent moon and all that. And I want him to be wearing just leather, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Shame.
That might get you banned off the internet.
Oh, who knows?
I'm making fun of like too many groups.
But then again, if anyone out there in Hollywood land's going to write a story and needs a break, you can thank Fred Stockman for that. Make sure you give him credit for that too.
Okay.
If it becomes a hit show on the WB, get a hold of Fred Stockman and give him credentials for that.
In all seriousness, I really want to see this. I don't know if you guys listen to Joe Rogan, but he was talking with who's that Navy SEAL? Is it Jack Carr? I think that's what his name is. But he's coming up with this.
Jocko Willink, I think.
No. Jack Carr. No, it's not Jocko Willink, because this guy's making a movie. Jack Carr, I think, is the name.
Jack Carr.
Yeah, and he's written a novel about it's kind of like his perfect soldier. And Chris Pratt, who actually my cousin knew Chris Pratt, is going to be the Navy SEAL in the movie, and I'm actually excited for that. I hope that TV show turns out good. It's going to be on Amazon. I'm really pumped for that. I want to see it. At least one thing to look forward to.
Instead of worrying about how things look, it's about how things are. It's like what I've said in my show. Let's not worry about the coloring book mandate. Let's worry about the encyclopedic mandate. Where's the facts and figures? Where's, if you're going to write a period piece, then you pay honor to that period, right? I'm not questioning the credibility of any actor for that matter. It's just a matter, don't be hired for a job just because you represent this group. Hired for the job because you have what it takes, because you have what the producers want, right? And that's when I trained for that. That's what I was told. Didn't matter if it was dramatic or for improv.
It's not working.
I love comedy.
I hate to say it, but from actually daily and direct experience, it's not working like that anymore. You're actually
then shoot them.
you're actually fitting into categories, and the requests are very specific for BIPOTSs or Ligbitzes, ABC type people. That's what they're looking for.
LGBTQ, ABAYP. I don't even know.
Ligbit2 plus A. So that's what that's what they're looking for. And then the other thing that they're going to add, the other wrinkle that they'll add now is you'll have to be mandatorily vaccinated. As far as I know from one of my colleagues, he's like, what if they ask you to be vaccinated? I go, I guess I'm not going to be doing too many productions on the up and up. Then I'll be doing a lot of gonzo things and a lot of sort of whatever so-called illegal. But we'll see how it goes. But that's pretty much back to your thing, Sarge. They're actually asking for they're looking for profiles now. Yeah, that's how it is.
So it's a good thing that I'm out of the business then, and I have this platform.
I think, Adam, if you want to find I think Jack Carr seems pretty unwoke, and I think his production that he's putting together, they're planning a couple of seasons, and some of the actors have not been fulfilled. So maybe shoot him a message. He's looking for a guy that can. Actually, he was talking about on the Joe Rogan show. He's looking for a guy that can do a proper Rhodesian accent, like a Rhodesian accent. So if you know anyone, I mean, I don't know. I think you got to be a bit old. You need I think it's an older character, so I couldn't do it, but even though I can kind of do the.
Well, from Tommy Gunn, the best Canadian actor goes to Sophie
Grégoire Trudeau.
Potato, the feminized potato.
Yeah, she's a piece of work.
Yeah, she definitely is. And of
Justin
course, from Gary,
kind of dramatic.
Well, you have to hear what the Chinese say about our beloved Prime Minister. You know, and anytime you address somebody as a piece of food, 9 times out of 10, it's usually an insult, not a praise.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not going to tell you what a lovely pizza you are.
Or like you're such a wiener. Yeah.
I like how the who was it?
Franks and Beans.
No.
Franks and Beans.
I think it was Norm Macdonald, and he goes, you know that guy, Justin Trudeau? What a piece of ass.
Here's a question for you, Adam. There you go.
I'd probably be good at it too, but I don't know. I just yeah. I mean, it's not the guys who make the money. It's not the guys who make the money in that business.
Yeah, they don't make anything, do they?
It's the chicks that make the cash. You know.
We could always identify.
I mean, you have a lot of fun. Obviously, but it's not like it's kind of.
Spend all day in the gym and
then sleep in the day, work at night, kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Jeez. Alter ego there. Well, folks, we're going to shut this down, so please get your questions in.
That's what I'm
I am Crusty Canuck. We are on the Sunday Fastball with the Sunday Fastball family of Adam Daniel Mezei, actor, director, producer, Canadian artist, and one of Canada's up-and-coming favorite sons. With us tonight, we have Fred Stockman, too, a newest member of the Fastball family. Earlier, we had Chris Semchuk, Veterans Veritas extraordinaire. Please tune in to us every Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
I just wanted to announce, by the way, that one of our films just made it into the Shanghai Film Festival. You can't see it.
Whoa, it's bright screen.
Excellent.
It's let's see if I can get a photo. I'll send it to you guys on the channel. We just got in, so it looks interesting.
Excellent. Well done. So hopefully Shanghai won't censor it.
Oh, you can't put that in there. Too many patriotic Canadians. They won't allow it.
Well, if the government tries to stick surgical steel in my arm, there will be lots of lead flying. Yeah. I like where you're going with that, Victor. Victor, you've been saying great comments all night, by the way, I have to admit.
Yes, thank you, Victor, for that, too. Like I was saying, folks, too, I hate to cut this short, so we get more questions in. Like I said, this is the Sunday Fastball with your host, Crusty Canuck, myself, Adam Daniel Mezei, Fred Stockman. We had Chris Semchuk earlier. Please.
I just want to say one last thing. Come on down.
Come on down.
Edna Royal, Organ Emporium, and get yourself a free budgie. Ain't that right, Tex?
That's right, Edna.
Come on down.
Okay. Can I finish now? Gentlemen?
Sorry, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, mate.
Anyway, please pay attention to the community page on Facebook and YouTube and other social media means to find updates on what's happening with the Sunday Fastball. And as always, Thursday until further notice, you'll see me on the Fastball interviewing an interesting guest at 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, too. Plus, I try to get episodes up every Tuesday to Friday. So I try to get 2 Crusty Canuck episodes up per week. So please stay tuned to my community pages for updates on that as well. Anyhow, like I say, tonight, I have been in the presence of great individuals. Adam Daniel Mezei, actor, director, creator, one of Canada's up-and-coming favorite sons. Fred Stockman, Kiwi American from Massachusetts, doing his thing.
Actually, it's
as
a Democratic Republic of Massachusetts.
Commonwealth.
Okay.
Is it the
Democratic
Commonwealth?
Socialist Republic of
That
Massachusetts.
sounds East German.
Isn't it called the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
Yeah, it is. But I would joke about it.
Massachusetts.
The right-wing people in Massachusetts kind of go the Democratic Republic, Socialist Republic of Massachusetts.
At whose expense, per se?
Whose expense? Charlie Parker.
From Gary Schill, some guys prefer a hamster than a budgie. Well, thank you, Gary, you dirty bugger. Well said,
Man,
but your timing was just a bit
hilarious.
Well said, though.
Hang on a thing before we go, Sarge, before we go, can I ask something?
Sure.
Can I get a roll call? Where are we from tonight, everybody? Where are we from? Where are we actually listening?
Oh, yes, I should do that. Great suggestion. Yeah, so please, everybody who watches,
give us a roll call. We'll start reading it aloud.
You can start saying, if you don't want to say your exact town, tell us your province and or state, please. Yeah, please do.
Or tell us your nearest interstellar location, if you happen to be somewhere else than the Milky Way.
Tom, Dr. Tom, what is it, Bruto? I swear to God. Would you like some more pancakes?
Port Alberni, Vancouver Island, Justin Mears. Thank you for the $5, Justin, by the way. It's going to go to a good purpose. Windsor, Ontario, S. Kosakovsky. Are you a male or a female? I'm going to take a wild stab and say that you're a lady.
Sue. Her name is Sue.
Sue. Hi, Sue. Sue Kosakovsky from Windsor, Ontario.
I used to live in Newmarket many moons ago.
Gary Schill's north of me, north of Toronto, on the end of the 404. Gary Schill with the great comments tonight. Gary Schill, sharp as a quill.
Yep. Right on.
Tommy Gunn from London. Yeah, Tommy Gunn, always great.
Yeah, lived in London in my punk rock days. Right on. So we got quite the mix of Canadians here. Please, ladies and gentlemen, don't hesitate. Let me know.
Oh, thank you, Sue. Okay. Dave Havington from the Bruce Peninsula near Wyerton. Yep. Wyerton, awesome, great stuff up on the Bruce there, ending up in Tobermory, just a lovely place.
It's awesome, the history alone.
Gary Schill was born in Scarberia. Nobody's perfect, Gary. You're allowed here still. Yeah,
we still love you, Gary. It's all good.
That's okay.
Right on.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, it looks like that some of our
you're Canuckistani. I like that, Canuckistani.
Canuckistani. Awesome. Yes, you can also find Sue there on Instagram as well. So, yeah, we should do that.
Like side Instagram account. I don't want to say them because they're kind of troll ones. So it's probably a bad idea.
You don't want people.
I encourage trolls because I like the debate, and if they can't hold a debate with me, then they can't hold anything.
No, my troll account's just like memes. It's like all memes, bro. You know what I'm talking. You know which one I'm talking about too. I have two of them.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Gary Schill, when did Germans live in Scarborough last?
I have no idea.
Is it a trick question?
I know a lot of them are in the Kitchener-Waterloo area because it used to be called New Berlin at one time.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the Oktoberfest in Kitchener is, I think, the third largest in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
there's
good.
one in the States, and then there's the Munich one, and then
you got the Oompa Pans, and you got the busty broads, busting out of their.
I love German women.
Oh yeah, they're great. I love it.
I went there at Christmas.
They're round in the right places.
Yes. Definitely. I went there around Christmas time in 2019. Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, they're full in the right places.
Definitely.
Czech girls. Czech girls, German girls, Polish girls. They're all in that right.
I do agree.
Eastern European is anything bordering that Mitteleuropa as it's known. Yeah.
Well, folks, get a couple more questions in, and then we'll for another success.
I love that, Gary Schill. When did Germans live in Scarborough last? Moved out in 1973. That's good, Gary. That is a good one. I like that. He goes there you go. See, Gary, you got to come on the show.
We can arrange that. We can arrange that too. Contact me, Jerry. You got my email, got my contact information. So, Gary, if you want to come out and say hi, yes, by all means, you're more than welcome to.
Canadian Insanity, Southwestern Ontario, outside of London.
Okay.
Way to go.
No, right on. Got a few more here. All right. Well, we'll end this then now. If you guys have any last statements for this week's Fastball, Adam.
I just don't know how much worse it can get because it can probably get a lot worse than it is. I just think try to be present-minded. I know it sounds a bit weird, but try to be present-minded and just focus on what you can focus on. Work on what you can work on. And if you are in fact in a situation where you can't go into an office, try to pick up a new skill in the interim because this is kind of like time away from time. It's like a little sort of it's a little hole in the space-time continuum, so to speak. So pick up a new skill, use the time well. Don't just sit there and, waste it. It's kind of a blessing in disguise.
True enough. Well said. Fred.
Be a man among men. West is the best. Simple. The extraordinary, ordinary night in an age of few nights.
Say that again. You got your little garbled.
Extraordinary, ordinary life. Be a knight in an age of few nights. No nights. Yeah, that's it.
That's good. I like that.
That works. That works. Yeah.
What do you got to say?
Well, like I say, do what you can to help your friends and neighbors out. Be realistic. Be fair. Ask the tough questions. Do not be shy. Don't be timid. Walk your truth. Shit simple. Go to work. Do the best you can. Help your friends and neighbors out to the best of your ability. Doesn't matter if you give a couple extra bucks here, help someone dig a hole. No pun intended. But you catch my drift. Give a few groceries, maybe help a little bit out. Every simple thing helps. And question the status quo. That is your right. That is your bloody life right. It has nothing to do with what country you're from. Question the status quo. And like I always like to say at the end of my show, look after your friends and loved ones. And remember, humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you next week on the Sunday Fastball. And stay tuned to my Thursday show, the Thursday Fastball. Don't have a guest lineup yet, but I'm working on it. And stay tuned to my channel for the updates on my podcast, usually every Tuesday and Friday. And we'll see you around next time. Thank you, my panel. You guys have been awesome this evening. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.